I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast episode number 127. Doing something a little bit different this episode. Unfortunately, Raucous Radio is no more, and therefore my show Porch Sittin isn't on there anymore either. And that happened before I could get Lyndsey Sharp on. So we did something. We recorded an episode of Porch Sittin, and we're going to broadcast it here on Ramblin' Man. So a couple of things to note in doing this. Number one, for some reason, I keep talking off mic, and I apologize for that. Trust me, I don't say anything worth hearing, as per usual, and it's all fine. And number two is, every time that we throw to a song, do me a favor and pause the podcast and go listen to that song. In the show notes, there is a link to the playlist for her songs. But I really appreciate Lyndsey for being on. Glad we actually got to go through with this. As you'll hear on there, it was a long time in the making. But I appreciate Lyndsey for being on. If you'd like to give her a follow, go on Instagram and follow her at Lyndsey_AS. Now, her first name is spelled a little bit different. So it's LYNDSEY_AS. And again, I appreciate Lyndsey for being on. We had a fun time. I gave her a lot of homework. And I expect to hear back that she has completed all of that homework. It's a lot of homework. But yeah, thank you, Lyndsey, for being on. Sponsor this week is Feral Giant. Feral Giant is a graphic design, illustration, and social media consultation company based here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they do work for clients big and small all over the country, all over the globe, in fact. But they also do photography, videography, video editing, and audio editing, website design, SEO, writing, content development. Hell, they'll babysit your kids if it nets them money. So make sure you give them a follow on social media on either Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Feral Giant. And be sure to give them an email today and hire them for your next project. Without much further ado, here's the episode. Joining us today on Porch Sittin, Ramblin' Man edition, I guess, is Lyndsey Sharp. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Getting by. We're doing this thing.
Yeah, right. Finally. Finally. How long have we been talking about doing this? It's been at least a year.
Has it been at least a year?
I think so.
Yeah, I just started finally. I was like, I have to do this every week. I was like, I'm going to just mass anybody who responds. No offense. But I was like, anybody who ever responds to anything I post, they're getting a message. And there were even some people like, what are you talking about? I was like, some people straight up ignored me, which was awesome.
Aww.
Good times. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself?
Well, let's see. I am currently an interior designer for about 2 more days, and then I'll be quitting that job to do what I feel I should have always been doing, which is getting a master's in social work and then specializing in talk therapy, and then potentially moving into other kinds of therapy, somatic therapy, which is more focused on like the mind-body connection and what how your body handles stress and how that then affects your mind and how you kind of have to balance the two.
How long until you're ready to... can I get on a waiting list?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that, and I'll be starting that in the fall. But aside from my future as a student, I'm also a wife and mother, and then also have, I wish I could say, a regular art practice. It's been a little less regular as of late,
Okay.
but I do have a quasi-active art practice where I paint and draw.
Okay. We'll get right into it. So, the first band that you picked, Bear's Den, with Above the Clouds of Pompeii. So, how did you find Bear's Den?
I found Bear's Den the way I find a lot of music, which is TV shows and movies. I watch a lot of movies and shows and focus in on the music in the background, maybe in a way that some other people would kind of tune out. I absolutely love that part, that aspect of visual shows. And so to be able to actually find music that way that then relates to the show, one, it's incredibly moving in the moment, but two, then it's like, oh wait, let me write this down really quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What is this? Because it's amazing. Yeah. So I find a lot that way.
I'm trying to remember what the website's called. Something like TuneFind or something where you can actually log every song that is in a TV show, and it'll say at what moment.
Yeah.
I've used it quite a bit.
Yeah, and there is a period of time back in like the late 90s, early 2000s where like the CW and WB had the best freaking songs on their shows. They were amazing. Like I'd have to, like stop paying attention to the show and write down the music like 4 or 5 times an episode of whatever it was that I was watching. And half the time the shows weren't that good, but the music was incredible and it was worth watching a shitty show to get to.
I'm trying to find, I just sent a meme to my friend Courtney that it said, here it is. Instead of mocking people for finding out about Kate Bush through Stranger Things, we should teach them proper way to discover music. The OC soundtrack.
Yes, exactly. Now I've never seen the OC. I will say that, but no shame.
Yeah.
I'm sure it had some fantastic tunes. So.
Oh, it was not, and she even responded with, and the Garden State soundtrack.
Oh yeah. Of course, that's a given.
Yeah. So there is one, hell, you can't watch it anywhere, damn it. There's a show from the 90s that my family and I watched that no one else remembers. There are two. One of them's Early Edition with Kyle Chandler.
Okay.
He got Tomorrow's Paper Today.
Yes. Okay. I don't think I've ever watched it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
And the other one was called Due South. And it was about a Canadian Mountie that his dad got murdered out in the Canadian wilderness, and he tracked it back to a hired killer, a hired gun out of Chicago. Mm-hmm. So he came down to Chicago to try and find his father's killer, and he teamed up with a Chicago police officer who was Italian. And but it's all the music was Canadian music.
Oh,
so that's the first place I ever heard of Sarah McLachlan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I will contend one of my favorite songs. There is a piano only version of one of her songs on that soundtrack, and it's called Possession. So
Dude,
the piano version.
Oh my god. Goosebumps that I have right now, because Sarah was a BFF of mine growing up. I mean, not really, but
whether she knew it or not.
Yeah, whether she knew it or not. I think I was living in Germany at the time, and I heard it on the German radio, Possession, exactly what you're talking about. Not that version, but the original
the
radio
electronic,
release. Yeah. And I think I was like 12, and it was really one of the first artists that I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
First like me discovering her for myself. Yeah, that song is just mind-blowing, and that version that you're talking about is incredible.
So there is a Due South Season 1 soundtrack that has that on there.
Nice.
But that, I will contend, Season 1 of Due South, except for the last episode, because that's back when they had 24 episodes a season.
Yeah.
Hour long.
Oh, yeah.
I would put Season 1 minus the last episode up against damn near any TV show.
Really? Okay.
It is, but you also had this...
Them spiting words.
I also had this discussion lately with I've been watching Monk as I go to sleep. And I was like, man, Monk, Due South's another example. You got to also think about it's before Prestige TV. So they didn't throw movie budgets at it. But for something that was just on CBS every Wednesday, Due South is ridiculously good. How they followed a storyline. The only problem I had with it is the next to last episode ended in a cliffhanger. I was like, that's how season 1 should have ended. And then they wrapped it up on the last episode. I was like, this should have been episode 1 of season 2.
Gotcha.
Like it's one of those weird things.
I know what you mean.
The other funny thing, did you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Oh, yeah.
So Andrea, Lori Holden, I think is her name, who's been in a ton of stuff. She plays someone in the last episode that I didn't like.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to think how to say this without sounding like a pig. She is like this big around. To where when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, she couldn't survive in the apocalypse. Like, she is so skinny. I'm like, holy shit, what is...
Well, I am going to have to look up this Due South because that's one of my love languages. If somebody recommends something to me, I'm going to do everything that I can to find it. And I hope that they do the same for me. So
I don't know where you are at ethically or morally, but I had to borrow it.
Gotcha. Okay.
From the
okay.
Now, actually, my dad I bought him now we'll say season 2 and 3 are terrible. Season 1 is the shit.
I hate when that happens.
But so I have DVDs I gave him, but I was like, this isn't really available. I think maybe you can buy it on Amazon, but I also think it's a weird, like the American version. It's not like the original Canadian. There's something weird about it. And I was like, maybe they're out of order. I don't know. There's something wonky there. But that soundtrack, I found so many bands through that.
Okay. Good to know.
And the other one, the film that I've seen the most in my life, a big reason is because of the soundtrack.
Okay.
Serendipity.
Dude, yes.
You're the first
person. My God.
Everybody else is like, that movie? What the fuck?
It's so good. It's so good. I adore Nick Drake.
Yeah.
So, Northern Sky, every time, oh man, I just get the warm fuzzies every time I hear that.
And I tried to explain it. I was like, because it's a great background movie.
Yeah.
Like, there are moments where I was like, I don't need to see this. I've seen this so many times. But then I was like, I love the end. The end is one of the best things.
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, before the little post scene with them. But the scene of him reading Jeremy Piven's...
Oh, man.
It's his eulogy.
Yeah, it's a heart clencher.
And it's one of those, I was like, you can tell that John Cusack and Jeremy Piven rewrote. Because their rat-a-tat-tat is so good. And Eugene Levy... Before everybody rediscovered Eugene
Love
Levy.
Eugene so much.
And it tanked, because I'm a nerd and I looked up, it tanked at the box office.
Did it really? Oh.
Well, it's because it came out right after 9/11.
Oh.
And that's why. And
interesting.
Yeah. So what's funny is I bought that movie for my mom for we used to exchange Valentine's Day gifts. And or maybe it's Mother's Day. I don't know. I bought it for her. I was like, this is some rom-com. I bought it for her. And I was like, I want to see that. I like John Cusack.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was like, this DVD is mine now. I took it from her. Because she watched it once. She's like, yeah, it's fine.
Oh,
like, no, this DVD is mine.
Yeah, I bought this for myself. Thank you. Yep.
But yeah, that soundtrack.
So
because
good.
Same thing. You can put on the background, and it's all the music in that, except for John Mayer. John Mayer's only paid, he's only played for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
In the background at, not a barbershop, a salon. Mm-hmm. I actually know because I've seen that damn movie so many times.
I love that.
And the David Gray instrumental is great.
Oh, man.
So I saw him and Alison Krauss play at the Ryman.
What?
And it was the day before Tom Petty died.
Wow.
Because on the way home, I didn't know. And then when I got home, my AC went out in my car. But it was November, so I was like, no, this is fine. I can last during the winter. I don't use my AC. And I got home and I sat down to do something, and I read Tom Petty died. And I just sat there and tried not to cry for about 4 hours. And I'm not even the biggest Tom Petty fan.
No, but you know what? The thing about Tom Petty, and I I've heard this from a lot of people because I actually have a lot of friends who are not big Tom Petty fans. And they were kind of like, I don't get why everybody's so upset. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but he wasn't that good.
You're
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, I understand, to each their own. However, he was such a huge part of the soundtrack of people our age and our parents' age throughout our lives. I mean, he was still releasing music the whole time. Got played in soundtracks and I mean, it was just constant. My parents, every Saturday, because both of my parents were working, Saturday was our clean the house day, and we would put on music loud. I mean, just blast music in our house, and everybody would go clean. And he is the first artist that I think of when I think of those days. I hear that. That is like the soundtrack of my childhood.
My buddy Greg and I, when we were in college and after college, he's the only one that would nerd out with me. So at the end of every year, we would come out with like our favorite 5 best albums of the year. And we kept doing that. And then we would like argue over what was our top 10 favorite songs. Top 10 albums of all time. We would argue about it all the time. And it was like, probably about a year after Tom Petty died, I texted him. I was like, you're the only one to give a shit about this. My favorite song is no longer DJ Shadow's Midnight in a Perfect World. It's Tom Petty's It'll All Work Out. I was like, I cannot skip that song, and it makes me...
Yes.
Elizabethtown.
Yes,
another great soundtrack.
Another amazing soundtrack.
Every time I hear that song, it makes me want to cry.
Me too. I was actually just thinking of that song in the car yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just at random, I was thinking of that song.
I'm not a big fan of her as a person. But have you heard Phoebe Bridgers' cover of it?
I have
she
not.
She did it the night he passed away.
Oh,
and
okay.
Somebody uploaded it to. I'm not a
Okay.
big fan of her.
Okay.
I have many issues with her as a human being.
Okay.
She's not a great human being. But
okay. No, I know her music. I don't know what you're talking about, so I'll have to look into that.
But yeah, she did a great cover, and it was just like same thing. Like I just sat there and listened to it like 20 times in a row.
Man.
Where somebody just recorded it on their cell phone from the front row, and like may have even been not at the Gray Eagle, but I don't know. But it was just like that, and the Waylon Jennings cover of Wildflowers.
Oh wow!
Have you heard it?
I don't think that I have, but I know the song.
Shit, it is. It is.
Okay.
In fact, Sean.
Yeah.
We were sitting around the other night, and he was like, "Oh, I don't think I made up a great covers playlist."
Ooh.
It's like 9 hours long. Okay, I'll have to share it with you.
Share it with me, please.
But I told him because his favorite album is, his favorite album's Randy Newman album.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The one with Southern. No. The one with the redneck song. I can't remember what it's called. I'm too tired. I'm too brain fried right now.
It's okay.
But one of his favorite albums is Southern Accents by Tom Petty. I was like, oh, have you ever heard this cover? And he listened to it. He's like, holy shit, no, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, wow. It's one of the best covers ever.
Yeah. Just back to Tom Petty really quick.
Yeah.
I saw him in concert.
Bastard.
I know. I'm sorry.
I never saw
it was like the week that I got... the week after I graduated high school.
Yeah.
My best friend and another close friend of ours, they were going off to college. And so I went to go see them off. And he just happened to be playing where they were at the moment. They bought us tickets. The only song they both knew was Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, but I'll go. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, that'll be great. And I'm dancing to every song. I am up dancing with all the old farts
God.
know every single word, and they're just sitting on the grass looking up at me like, what is going on with her? I was in heaven. It was amazing. It was such a good show.
Bastard. Okay. Here, I will, going back to Sarah McLachlan, we'll eventually get back to the Bears Den. Or Bears Den.
Yeah, it was Bears Den.
I started admitting this recently. I'm trying to think how to form these words. The 2 albums I listened to the most in high school would fry your brain.
Okay. Drum roll.
Shit. Now I'm going to have to... I always have to look up one of them. And it was disappointing because I saw that this person was... Okay, there it is. I saw this person on tour, and they do one song that I know, and it bums me out.
Okay.
So the 2 albums I listened to the most, Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes.
So good.
She's the one that she does Cornflake Girl, and that's it. And I was like, are you kidding me? You don't do anything off of Little Earthquakes?
When did you see her?
No. I saw she was on tour.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, let me look up a set list first. And I was like, are you kidding me?
I know, because that album is so amazing.
Yeah.
She could do every song and people would just be absolutely thrilled. But she is a very prolific music maker. And so I guess, for the diehard fans, they're going to be as thrilled with all the other songs. But that album is perfection.
Do a 20th, 30th anniversary tour.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Yeah. Well, it's like I saw Badly Drawn Boy at Blue Cats. And he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out and I'm going to do my new album from beginning to end. And I'm going to go away for a minute and I'm going to come back and I'll play anything you want to hear.
Oh my God. That's
I was like, that's what everybody should be doing.
Why does everybody not follow this format?
So Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes, big football playing dude. So I learned also before a game, we would get out of school at 3:30. We'd immediately go eat at like 4, eat dinner. Then we'd come back to the locker room by 5, and we'd have to relax for like 2 hours, wait on the game. And at first, I would listen to Tupac and get hype, and then get out there to play and be like, I am tired. Because I just was a coiled spring. And then I learned, I was like, no, I need to listen to relaxing music. So I listened to Tori Amos, Shy. Do you remember the R&B grand Shy?
Yes, I do. Yes.
And then the second album I listened to the most in high school was Garth Brooks' No Fences. Because half of that album, I don't like Thunder Rolls. I don't like Friends in Low Places. Well, I like Thunder Rolls. I hate Friends in Low Places. I hate that song. That's funny. But I love a lot of the other songs like Wolves and all the sad, slow songs. They're great songs. So that's what I would go to sleep to is Little Earthquakes, and I would program my CD player so it would play like the same 5 songs, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not a big country fan, but I will fight anybody who says that 90s country was not incredible. 90s country was phenomenal. Yeah. Everything else kind of, past that, I'm kind of, okay, whatever. But, I mean, you can't fault it. It was so good. So good. And Garth was tremendous.
And there are so many that people forget about, a lot of the story songs. But like Dust on a Bottle by Davy Lee Murphy is a great song. There's I'm trying to remember who sang it. It was one of those weird ones. I think he had a few hits, but he wasn't somebody huge. I Don't Call Him Daddy. Do you remember that? I don't call him Daddy, but he takes care of things. When you pick me up on Friday, are you going to bring me anything?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my husband could
Rhett
tell
Akins
us what that...
or somebody like that.
He could tell us who it is, but I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I would go from listening to 90s country to Tool to nothing but rap. It was 85% rap and then a little bit of Tool, a little bit of Pearl Jam, and then 90s country.
I think that was the magic of that time, though. I look back on my parents' music and I'm like, God, I'm so freaking jealous that you guys had all of this and I'm listening to it second and third hand. Yeah. But we really had incredible music in the 90s. And people, you would have some people who just listen to country or some people who just listen to rock. But most of the people I know listen to everything because all of it was good. Yeah. All of it was kind of groundbreaking for what it was doing at the time. And
I feel like this is going to sound weird to say, I feel like there was less snobbery. Mm-hmm. Like, I could enjoy the band Bush.
Yeah.
And very few people would shit on me.
Yeah.
You would have the, nerds being like, well, they're just a rip-off of whomever. I was like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Greedy Fly is a great song. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Like, that's all. Mm-hmm. And then, but it feels like now there's a lot more snobbery, I guess.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so
we're
moving on. Go back to Bears Den. Yes. Where did you see Bears Den?
Oh man, I saw Bears Den. Shit, where was it? Okay, I want to say where Mercy Lounge was because Mercy Lounge just closed, and I saw the last show that was being performed at Mercy Lounge. Coincidentally, I had no idea. We'll get to that at another song because I saw another band at the Mercy Lounge.
Well, what's funny is I think she was touring during COVID and I didn't go because I think I canceled. Maggie Rogers was playing Mercy Lounge, and I almost drove.
What?
And I was like, I will be A, the only person over 40. B, I will probably be the only dude there, or the only straight dude, because I love Maggie Rogers.
Dude, my husband would have been
okay.
been there with you. So,
Yeah.
wow, yeah. So,
But
how
that seems like a very small venue for her.
I agree. I would agree with that. Bears Den were phenomenal. I don't remember exactly the name of the room because, you know, the Mercy Lounge,
yeah.
there's like a couple of different rooms. It was not the Mercy Lounge. It was like technically
God.
a different one. But anyway, they were so amazing. They could not believe that people were cheering as loudly as they were.
They were the main act? They were the opening?
Yes, they were the
wow.
main act.
Okay.
And they were like, I can't believe you guys are here to see us. Like, they could not believe that we loved them as much as we did. Halfway through, or 3/4 of the way through, they get off the stage and come down to the crowd and play an acoustic song. And I was 10 feet from, it was, oh God,
Yeah.
I'm losing my words, obviously, because it was so amazing.
So we live in this weird time, and I keep bringing this up here recently, where because of the internet, everybody's like, oh, you can just have access to anything whenever you want. No, you can't. And it's actually a lot more common for shit to go away. Bears Den did a live YouTube, they did a YouTube video where the song that I found through them was The Love We Once Stole, that my friend Lyndsey hit me to. And, or maybe it was, I found it and I was like, went to like them on Facebook, and the only friend was Lyndsey, who was a big music nerd. And I was like, holy shit, you like this band? Yeah, and so we started talking about them. But there was them in a bar performing that song acoustically, and it's no longer on the internet anywhere. And it pisses me off. I've started ripping stuff from YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid I'm going to lose it.
You never know.
That I joke that I've got a song in iTunes from Calixico that I may be the only person. They may not even have a copy of it. It's an acoustic version of one of their songs. One of my favorite songs. The acoustic version. The album version's not that good. Gregory Porter. I want to go find Stephen Colbert. I love him, but shake the shit out of him. Said, tell your people to stop. Because what they would do is they would upload the music, a musical performance, onto their YouTube, and after like a month, they would delete them. And they would do like after show or pre-show.
Yeah.
He and John Baptiste and this saxophone player did Nature Boy. And it is one of the most awe-inspiring songs I've ever heard in my life. And it fucking got deleted. Before it got deleted, I ripped an MP3.
Oh, yes.
Because
Okay,
fuck
good.
them.
Good. Yes.
Yes. And I sent it to my buddy Brandon, who is an opera performer who loves...
I love Brandon. Well, okay, wait.
Gibson. Brandon Gibson.
Yes, Brandon.
So he's the only one I knew that knows who the hell Gregory, other than my dad, because I was
yeah.
like, Dad, you got to listen to this guy.
Yeah.
And I sent him that, and he was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, yeah. And it got deleted after a month because they're assholes. I was like, leave that shit up. It's YouTube. If you need to sign a contract saying you want monetize, I don't care.
Yep.
That's when
Agreed.
Letterman left, they zeroed out that YouTube channel, and I missed.
Such a bummer.
There were so many great Letterman performances or interviews that are just...
Yeah.
Now he's started re-uploading them to his own channel.
Good.
But not the music, because the music he doesn't have the rights to.
Doesn't have the rights to.
I was like, man,
it's
we live
so
in 2022.
It is so frustrating. And there are some movies, we're kind of getting off the subject, but there are some movies, like an example would be Love Actually, where they changed a song in the movie because they no longer had rights to that song. And it changes the entire feel of the scene.
Which song is it?
So it's the Kelly Clarkson song that's about partway through. They're at a dance, like a party. And it was a Kelly Clarkson song, and they changed it to something I don't even know who it is.
Isn't it the one where they start, it's really upbeat, then they start, it goes slow?
Yeah.
Where Laura Linney and...
Yes. Yeah. And it just, and everybody's dancing, but like they're kind of dancing off beat because they changed, I don't know. It was just...
I've got it on DVD and Blu-ray, and it's still on there.
Yeah.
That's the way I
think
look
I have
at it.
like the DVD and it's on there, and the Blu-ray it's not. So
I never even thought about that. It may not be on the Blu-ray.
They changed it, but
okay.
But
So
anyway,
you saw Bears Den.
so Bears Den. I saw them live in Nashville a couple years back. They just came out with another album very recently called Blue Hours. One of the cool things about this particular album is that it is about mental health almost exclusively, and so it's just a really interesting, very deep album, and I have a friend who always cries. Like he's like, I have to mentally prepare myself to listen to Bear's Den because I know I'm going to cry like the whole way through. And of course there are particular songs that encourage that behavior, but this new album, there are just a few songs that, man, they just really get you because it's about mental health. It's a really good one, but the song that I'm talking about is from a different album, and it's probably the song Above the Clouds of Pompeii. I feel like it's the one that most people would find Bear's Den through.
Okay.
To me, it's the one that they've released the most publicly, like on TV shows or movies, in my opinion, you would just be more likely to hear that over anything else.
I don't know what it is. Like, I was lucky enough to see Frightened Rabbit before Scott took his life. Oh, yeah. You want to hear? Do you know where?
I love Frightened Rabbit.
It would blow your mind. At the Valerium. They came and played the Valerium.
What?
Yeah. Or whatever the cider room, whatever the hell it was called. They played there. And there was a group of dudes who drove up from Miami because they were like, this is the closest they have ever been to us.
Oh, my gosh.
So we drove all day to get here.
Yeah.
And it was boiling hot. And because, of course, it was. Yeah. They didn't have air conditioning. But it was one of the best shows.
God, man.
And Scott, you talk about mental.
Oh, I know.
Like, everything he sang about.
That last album.
But what's fucked up is he was so funny. Mm-hmm. And so jovial in like interviews and stuff.
Aren't they all though?
Yeah,
they all are.
Oh, dude, I think the celebrity death that may have hit me the worst was Robin Williams, and I was like, can I get in the DeLorean and go back 3 days ago and find him and hug the ever-loving fuck out of him?
Every time I watch movies with him, I cannot hold it in. I just cry. I'll tell you two quick. God, we haven't even gotten to the first one. I know.
Seeing I have a message from the person I thought I did.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, no, I'm giving the okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Two friends had interactions with Robin Williams. Both of them lived in L.A. That's why. One of my friends, Dan Wickline, saw him. That may have been in New York. He saw him perform, or saw him somewhere, or maybe it was he just saw him at a restaurant or something. But he came out and he talked to. This is going to break your heart. He talked. I'm going to tell you this one first because it's rough. He talked to everyone that was out there. He hung out with them. I think it was before cell phones, so didn't take pictures, signed documents, all that stuff. But Dan said he watched him turn to walk away. And he said the face he had once he was away from those people was one of the saddest human beings he's ever seen in his life. And that's the one I want to step up to him and smack the fuck out of him and go, I don't know that you understand, like, your impact on literally the world at this point. Like, I'm welling up.
Who doesn't love Robin Williams?
Yeah, I'm welling up thinking about it.
I know.
And the way I found out I was flying to Naples, Florida for work, not to brag. And as we were having to turn off our phones, it came up on Twitter. And my parents loved it. My parents let me watch him live at the Met when I was like 6, where he started dropping the C-bomb. And I was like, Mom, what's that mean? Nope. It's still one of the best jokes at the beginning that will not play because it's me saying it, where he walks out and he goes, God damn. He's like, I just got to imagine Pavarotti's at the Improv going, 2 Jews walk into a bar. And I was like, oh my God, dude. I was like, but, and then the second interaction, my buddy Dan Taylor, God love Dan, and he told this story. Also, if you've not read it, the Norm Macdonald tweet storm after he died about Norm
I don't think I have.
Norm was on, hell, I'll tell that one too, because who gives a shit at this point? Dan was doing stand-up in L.A., and he was just going up, and Robin Williams did a drop-in. And so, but he said, Dan was sitting there getting his shit together in the green room, and all of a sudden he felt someone walk into the room. He looked up, and it was Robin Williams. And Robin was
not
just like,
imagine.
hey, he's like, are you performing? And talked to him for a little bit. He said, yeah. He said he sat down and talked to him for like 30, 45 minutes. And Dan said, Robin said something to him, and he responded, and Robin could not stop laughing and grabbed his shoulder.
Holy shit.
And
What
he
kind
said-
of validation
and
must
said-
you feel?
Oh, no.
Oh,
It gets better.
okay.
He grabbed his shoulder, and he was like, can I give you like $50 and use that on stage tonight? And because it was a
What?
tag to a joke. And Dan said, of course.
Holy shit.
Oh, no, it gets better. So then Dan's going up after Robin. He goes and stands in the back and watches his set. He hears his tag come out of Robin Williams' mouth, and the room lights on fire. He was like, now that is the ultimate. Robin Williams recognized that your
God.
tag was so great that he used it, and it murdered. I was like, that is... You can
Highlight of your
retire.
life.
Don't even go out.
Highlight.
Don't even go up.
Nothing will ever top
No,
that.
No.
Oh my god.
So the other one is I'm going to try and get to it as quick as possible. Norm Macdonald is first time on Letterman. He's sitting in the green room. What is the back green room? He's on the phone with his friend, and he says he kept referring to Robin Williams as the funniest man alive, or the funniest man, something like that. Mm-hmm. And he said he's sitting there on the phone with his friend, and he watched Robin Williams pass by, and he goes, "Holy shit, Robin Williams just passed by." And he said Robin must have heard that because he came back, walked in the room, and started measuring him like he was an old Jewish tailor, and started messing with him. And then he grabbed the phone, and he was like, "Robin Williams is cradling my balls right now." Like it just all this stuff. I'm probably making that part up, but he was just telling. And then he all of a sudden he grabbed the phone and he started talking like he was a Chinese takeout. No mushu got pan. No mushu got, just all that. And then he just walked out. He never said anything as Robin Williams. And he was like, that's how I was able to not shit myself when I walked out on the stage at Letterman. Because Robin Williams did me a favor, probably knowing that it was my first time ever going up.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll never be able to thank him for that. Like, it was so beautiful.
That's amazing. I think, just coincident, I think that I was actually in an airport when I heard the news.
So, yeah, I don't know if I finished that. No, I was getting on a plane. They were about to tell us to tell our phone, turns our phones off. I saw it on Twitter. I texted my mom and dad and said, I think Robin Williams just died. Shut off my phone. Mm-hmm. So when I opened it back up, the two of them were like, no. And mom was like, no, no, no. And then came back, and I think dad had found the article. Because I landed, and it was like 4 hours later.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I had a rough day that day. Mm-hmm. It was a rough day. Mm-hmm. And, of having to process all that. Of just like, holy fuck, he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
He's not going to get to do anything. Like, no more specials. No more... Nothing.
He was so amazing. Anyway, yes.
So Bears Den, they couldn't believe. But they're another band that's like, why are you all not touring? I know you're not huge in the States, but...
But they should be. They're so good, and especially in this area, because they have that folky,
Or they should be opening for like Avett Brothers or something.
Yeah. I mean, and they've got that sound that's so popular in this area.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just because they're smaller and they're British. I don't know, but
British
so
is weird
good.
because I saw Gomez at the Bijou Theater like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. There were maybe 100, 120 people there.
Really?
Do you know Gomez?
I'm vaguely familiar, but okay, all right.
Their second album, maybe one of the best, my favorite albums.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And now I can't remember what it's called. Their first album sounds like a stoner album, and they changed from album to album their style.
Okay.
So there are some that it's like, if you really want to deep dive, like...
Okay.
But, yeah, Liquid Skin.
Liquid Skin. Yeah, I've heard of them, but I'm not like really familiar with them, so.
You will get to song 6 and you will text me.
Okay.
Because the song 6 is We Haven't Turned Around. I will go ahead and predict.
Okay.
You will flip your shit when you get to that song.
All right. I plan on it.
Yeah, and I got front row. And at they were like 3 songs in, and they were like, does everybody want to stand up and dance? And so I just jumped in front of the stage, and I was like up to here at the lead singer. I was like, sorry, he said it. I'm going to do this. But they also have like 2 different lead singers. One guy is super gruff and sounds like he's been smoking since he was 3, and the other guy is kind of hot. They're great. Another one is Doves. If you've never listened to Doves.
I'm familiar
Doves
with
is one of my
Doves.
favorite bands.
Yes.
And
okay.
They do not get enough credit.
Yeah.
And
I love Kingdom of Rust.
Okay, see, I go
okay.
Lost Souls.
Okay.
Okay. Bears Den, you saw them.
Yes.
You
they're
love them.
fantastic. Amazing.
And you've kept up with them.
Yes.
So now we're going to keep up with them. Look at that transition. I never missed a beat. Too bad this is not a video podcast because you're missing out. Here is Bears Den with Above the Clouds of Pompeii. That was Bears Den with Above the Clouds of Pompeii, and I'm hoping to hell that I remember in the intro to this to tell people when I throw to a song to pause the podcast, go listen to the song, because I cannot insert them, and I thought about that as I got to 3. I was like, oh shit, I should have told people to go listen to the song.
It's okay.
Okay, it was Bears Den, Above the Clouds of Pompeii. Okay, here we go. Do you remember the first song you heard that made you stand up and take notice?
The first song of any song. Oh man. So that's a really hard question, kind of because of what I was saying earlier. You know, my parents, I grew up with music from day one. And when I was really little, when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, I lived in Italy. My Italian babysitter was obsessed with American music. More specifically Madonna, Michael Jackson, and U2. And so I knew all of those albums by heart.
Another rabbit hole.
As like a 6-year-old.
Holy shit. Okay.
And so I don't remember a time in my life where music was not a huge part of my day. And I just kind of took it all for granted. Like, this is a thing that exists, and it makes noise, it makes sounds all day long, every day, and this is my life. And so I have a hard time pinpointing a very specific song, but I will say that if I have to look back and try to find one that I was like, stop for a second, appreciate it for what it is on its own, and then kind of inspired me to consider making my own music, was Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell.
Okay.
My mom was a huge Joni Mitchell fan, and so I grew up listening to Joni Mitchell constantly.
I remember who covered that.
Everybody's covered it.
Somebody had a big hit. Was it? It wasn't
Counting Crows.
10,000 Maniacs, but there was a female.
Yeah, gosh, everybody's covered that at some point or another.
Harry Styles has apparently covered it.
Oh, has he? Okay.
I don't get Harry Styles.
No. Okay, so I do have 2 teenage daughters, so I listen to Harry Styles a lot. He's not my favorite, but I can appreciate him.
Oh,
I can appreciate him.
Amy Grant had a hit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did. She did. I remember the Counting Crows version a little bit more than the Amy Grant version.
When I search Big Yellow Taxi, Counting Crows is the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
Before Joni Mitchell, which seems wrong.
Oh, God, no.
Okay, so you're obsessed with that.
I love Joni Mitchell. She was the reason that I started to teach myself to play guitar when I was little. I don't play anymore.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but when I was younger, when I was about 13 or 14, I tried to teach myself guitar, and it was so that I could play Joni Mitchell songs. And Big Yellow Taxi was the first one that I was like, I could dig this. How do I do this myself?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that would be the first. But honestly, again, like I said, it's just so hard for me to say because I grew up with such amazing, Al Green, Otis Redding.
Yeah.
Anybody who played at Woodstock. My dad was super into Motown. I think the first cassette that I ever stole from my parents was like 50s doo-wop music. Oh
my God.
Yeah.
So here's something super niche. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Jive Bunny and the Mix Masters?
Not by name.
One huge hit where it was In the Mood. And it was like a remix of In the Mood. That it was a huge hit on radio.
I bet I would know it if I heard it, but I don't
so
know
they
it by the name.
remixed like Do the Twist and all this stuff into one big song. So Dad really got into that. But here's something that you'll love. I've been playing poker with my dad and uncle since I was 8 years old. When I was a kid, they would call into whatever 102 was. It was the oldie station. And at about 11 o'clock, they were to request Papa Was a Rolling Stone. They would crank it up as loud as they could, and they all sang to it.
Yeah.
And the DJ that they would call in who got to know them, and my dad's nickname is Rock, Dad would call and, he'd be like, oh, hey, Rock, are you up tonight? And he was like, no, Daryl's winning. That Daryl always wins. Like, that DJ, Tony Lawson, who started WDVX, was the DJ that they called, yeah. So Dad and them were into, like, Dad was into Charlie Daniels Band, ZZ Top, Billy Vera in the Beaters.
Not familiar
You
with
would
that
know
one.
the song at this moment. What would you say if... no?
Yeah.
If you heard it, you would know it.
I think so.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Family Ties. Michael J. Fox and his girlfriend danced to it.
Okay. Well, then I heard it. Yeah, I've definitely heard it because I loved Family Ties.
But the funniest one was he loved the Pet Shop Boys. Big truck driver dude, burly truck driver, listen to Pet Shop Boys.
Love that.
Like, but he listened to everything but like Otis and all the soul stuff. And Buddy Miles. Like, he sat me down and explained to me who Buddy Miles was. It's crazy shit. Now I think about it. But, so my friends have a podcast called After Lunch, Michael May. And I know he won't hear this, so I can spoil here. They do like just bullshit about geek stuff. And then every once in a while they will do a competition. And they did a Sweet 16 of greatest fictional bands of all time.
Oh, man.
So I immediately, when I heard that, I picked 4.
Okay.
And they only mentioned 2 out of the 4.
Okay.
And nobody picked any of my bands. They were all honorable mentions. And my bands were Sexual Chocolate.
Okay.
From Coming to America.
Yes.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
Dude. Oh, my God. I am obsessed with Eddie and the Cruisers. I have the vinyl. Vinyl. People laugh at me.
Yeah.
I know all of the words to the... I loved
On the Dark
Eddie.
Side.
I loved Eddie. Yeah.
The Wonders from That Thing You Do.
Yes. Okay.
And then I can never remember the name of the band, but it's Diane Lane's band from Streets of Fire, another Michael Pare film. Streets of Fire was this rock opera thing that Walter Hill, who did 48 Hours, and the Warriors did. And like, it's a terrible movie. But it's Michael Pare from Eddie and the Cruisers. But Diane Lane was like 18 or 19.
Wow.
And she's like the lead singer of like a Joan Jett type band. So those were the 4 I picked, and they only mentioned 2 of them. The Wonders and the Diane Lane Band. I was like, how the fuck do you not mention Eddie and the Cruisers?
Oh my God, Eddie. Yeah.
Shoot. Now I forget his name. Chris Pratt's character from Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
It won.
Okay.
They were like, because of Little Sebastian. I was like, come on.
Oh, man. Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Parks and Rec, but like,
He
no.
won. So I pitched them 3 ideas. I'll
Okay.
give you the 2 geeky ideas first. We have to build an Ocean's 11 team out of superhero or comic book characters. We're recording that
Okay.
Wednesday night. And I've already got
Nice.
my team picked.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right.
I hate the B word. I never use it for women, but I'm going to use it in this. Apparently I'm a basic bitch when it comes to comic book characters. Because I'm naming like Spider-Man. And I have
nothing wrong
40
with Spider-Man.
long boxes of comics, and I'm like, but I don't know who the 3rd tier bad guy is in Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. But I did name some, like one of them was for Muscle, and I did Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing's one of my favorite characters.
Okay.
So that was one idea I pitched them. Second idea I pitched them was Magnificent Seven with comic book characters.
Okay.
Because I love that movie, and Michael's a huge Western fan. The third thing I said was, I want to do an NFL draft, but for 80s songs.
Ooh. Okay.
So, here's the spoiler. I think if we were to burn a CD and send it to space, the most representative song of the 80s is not from the Big Five. And this is why I brought it up. It's not from the Big Five.
Okay.
It's not from Prince. It's not from Michael Jackson. It's not from Madonna. It's not from Bruce. And it's not from U2.
Okay.
It is In Excess, Never Tear Us Apart. I think that is because it's got the synth. It's got him as a singer, and it's got the weird-ass saxophone at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that is
I mean, that's a great song. That's a great song.
So
There's
I
no
may
doubt
have to
about
send you another playlist. I have my playlist, which is 8 hours long, of my picks.
Send it my way.
I only have one Madonna song in there.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that.
And it's a different one. It's Live to Tell.
Oh, I love that song. Love that song.
I think that is the best.
So good.
And there's so many artists like Peter Gabriel. I don't have Sledgehammer or Big Time. I've got like Mercy Street and In Your Eyes. You can't.
Oh, you cannot have a list without that song in it. I would also include Grieve and Book of Love.
No, it's 80s.
Oh, shit. That's right.
Oh, dude, I can't tell you how many. Like, I'm starting to list like the first one that I thought of after NXS, because I was like, that's going to be round 3. That's going to be a sleeper. Nobody would ever pick that song the first 2 rounds. So the next song I picked is another weird pick for this band.
Okay.
Run DMC, Run's House. Not Walk This Way. Whose house? Run's house. And then I picked 2 Public Enemy songs, and I was like, holy shit, most of the Public Enemy songs are 1990 and past. I think Fight the Power is 90 and past.
Man.
So I picked like Black Stiller in the Hour of Chaos, and starts with an A. I can't pull it right now, but I was like, oh yeah, my list is weird as shit. And it's got some in there that I think nobody picked, like Yazoo's Only You. Yeah.
I listened to that on the way here.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Listen to that on the way here.
I only found that song from Can't Hardly Wait. Talk about soundtracks.
Such a good soundtrack. And also possibly the best movie of that genre. Like of that era of the teen, like, massive cast.
Yep.
Late 90s, early 2000s. I would say it's the best one. Personal opinion.
I actually think American Pie is not as bad as everybody remembers.
No, definitely not.
It's
up there.
Endearing and sweet.
Yeah.
Even though it's crass as shit. Like, but it is. So Can't Hardly Wait. Did you know Tommy Stinson was in town and played at Next Level Brewery the other night? And they were the only ones to promote it 2 weeks before it happened. So I turned my sister is 11 and a half years younger than me. Mm-hmm. I would take her to shows when she was a kid. I took her to see Dresden Dolls at the Bijou.
Okay.
Lou Reed. Elvis Costello at the Tennessee. Both those at Tennessee. Wow. I took her to some insane shows. But I hipped her to the Replacements when she was very young. Mm-hmm. And that's one of her favorite bands. And she's still like, I can't believe you let me listen to them when I was a kid. I was like, there's nothing wrong with them. No. But when I told her, I was like, Tommy Stinson was just here. She was like, what is happening? She was so pissed. I was like, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until the next day, where he went to Corner Lounge beforehand and had it and was there. I don't want to say I had a drink. I don't know if he's sober. But I was like, why is Tommy Stinson in my town? It's like he played Next Level Brewery. I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
So, anyway, 80 songs of all time.
Yes.
So I got 2 playlists to send you.
Yes.
Okay. But not an 80s band. Look at that transition. Dry the River is the next band with Alarms in the Heart. So I will admit, I think on your list there were only 2 that I did not know. Dry the River and the last one.
Okay.
Don't know either one of those.
Okay. So Dry the River is one of those bands. Okay, I know that you'll know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure other people will as well. You ever have those moments where you hear a song for the first time and it's, hitting all the right spots. You're not sure what you're hearing. You don't know who it is, but you remember the first time that you heard it.
Oh, yeah. So
the song that I'm talking about is not the one that I picked, but it was by them. It's the first time I ever heard them. I was at the intersection of Kingston Pike and North Shore, and it was pouring rain. And I'm sitting there at a red light, and this song comes on 105.3 back when it was I-105.
Okay.
And it was called Everlasting Light. And I immediately wrote down really quickly while I was still at the stoplight that name, and then put down, to check that radio station, because they didn't say who it was.
Oh.
And pulled over, searched their website, found out who it was, went online, found their music, and then found that nobody that I knew who these people were. Which is unbelievable, because every person that we introduce them to falls in love. And they're like, this is one of the best bands I've ever heard in my life. And everybody that I know now, it's in their top.
Yeah.
Because they're just so amazing. of course, that means that they're no longer together. Of course.
Oh my
Of course,
God.
that's the way it goes. But they were just fantastic. And we saw them in Nashville at 3rd and Lyndsey right before they broke up. Of course, we had no idea.
Isn't 3rd and Lyndsey one of the rooms that's next to Mercy Lounge?
I think so. I'm not as familiar with
Because I think they have the same website. That's why I say that.
Oh,
I think
okay.
They may
Maybe.
be owned by the same company or whatever.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. So we went to go see them. You know, there's like a smattering of people in there
Yeah.
because another small British band that, you know, doesn't really have a big
Yeah.
name over here. Which is part of why they broke up, because they just didn't have a huge following,
Yeah.
which blows my mind because they are were phenomenal.
Yeah.
The musicians have all gone on to do their own independent things, either with other bands or the lead singer, P.D. Lyttle, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. He put out his own solo album after they broke up, which is also really good. It's called Casual Labor, I think. They were just amazing. And, you know, it was one of those things right after we saw them in concert. So excited, so stoked, thinking they need to be putting out new music soon. Go to their website, and there's this, well, it's been great, guys. You know,
God.
the last 10 years have been amazing, but we've decided to go our separate ways.
Don't give up hope.
I know.
Because Doves did that too, and then they came back and did an album. And
Well,
Yeah.
so they put out an EP as kind of like a parting gift, which was
Yeah.
also really good. And then they all still visit each other. They all still help each other out with projects. So fingers crossed
Yeah.
that maybe someday they'll put
Yeah, 'cause
something
I
out, or
look at a
they'll
band
do some
like-
concerts.
I've had many experiences like what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
and in funny. I have to. Sorry, this is a rambling man, so this is going to come with a lot of stories. So we're not stuck to 2 hours like we're on Porch Sittin. But I gotta remember the two. But there was a song I heard. I can't remember, randomly, like let's say 2014, and I heard that song. I was like, that song is holy shit, that may be in my top 5. I was like, and I swear I recognize this song. And then I read a little bit about it. I was like, I heard this in art class in like 1993.
Wow.
And when I say the song, I bet you're going to know it. It's a British band called Ride, and the song's called Vapor Trail. And if you don't know it,
Okay.
it will be in your top 10 after you
That
listen to it.
sounds familiar.
And it's VAP. It's the British spelling.
Okay.
VAPOUR.
O-U-R, yeah.
But I think they broke up for a shit ton of years. And then when they started touring again, like they were another band that had success in the UK, not success over here.
Yeah.
And then they started touring again. And it was like, holy shit, Ride's back together. Like so
Okay.
many people had found them.
Wow.
So that's the hope. For
Fingers
Drive-
crossed,
Drive
man,
River.
because they're so amazing. I mean, PD's voice is incredible for one, but like the lyrics of the songs,
Yeah.
they're so good. And they actually put out an acoustic version of their album Shallow Bed. That, you know, sometimes people will put out something and it's an acoustic version and it's like, okay, well, that sounds exactly the same, just not plugged in.
Yeah.
This actually sounds different enough, beautiful on its own, and some people like it more than the original studio album. But I feel like it's just a different beast, like beautiful in
okay.
its own way,
Yeah.
but so amazing. So if you check out, you know, those two albums, the one that the song that we're about to play comes off of, which is called Alarms in the Heart. And then Shallow Bed, they also have the Shallow Bed acoustic version. And
Okay.
you have to check that out too, because it's so good. They
Okay.
were in live. Oh my God, they were amazing. They were so good. And we have a tendency, when I say we, I mean me and my husband, we have a tendency to see music groups and then find out that they're breaking up or that they're going on hiatus. We saw Keane in Hampstead Heath.
Oh.
We went to London and we saw Keane play at Hampstead Heath, and it was the last show they played for 7 years.
So
And we
I'm
didn't
also
know.
going to fry your brain. Before they blew up, I saw them as the opening act at Sundown in the City.
No, you did not.
They opened
No
for...
way.
I always get the name wrong. No, it was... I want to say it was Galaxy 500 or Galactic, but I think I
Okay.
looked it up later and it wasn't either one of those.
Okay.
It was some other band that it was nowhere near what they were. I'm not kidding. And there was maybe 300 people there waiting for the next band.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm here for Keen. And I fucked off once Keen was done.
Yeah.
And they were great.
Oh, my God.
Although that lead singer apparently had a lot of issues.
He did. So he had some rough times, and that's part of why they took a break. He wanted to focus on his family and get over his addiction issues. He has come out swinging. He's
that's good.
Doing great. As a band, they're still doing really well. And he's also come out with several solo albums, and he's actually putting out another one here very shortly.
Okay.
So Tom Chaplin is his name, and he is so amazing. He has the most beautiful voice.
Yeah.
Just really incredible range.
Somebody like that his solo work ended up being completely different and great was Richard Ashcroft from The Verve.
Yes.
His solo shit is like, what
really
is
good.
happening? Like,
really good.
So good. So some of the instances I had with that, my parents had one of those undermount radios in the kitchen.
Okay, yep.
And it was like in the morning while they're getting ready, they turned it on. And there was a point in time where there was this radio station. This has been early 2000s, 100.3 The River.
Yeah.
And they actually played like independent stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I found a Scott Miller song when his first solo album came out. I didn't realize he'd released a solo album. And they played a song off of it. And I was like, what is this? They played this guy, John Eddy, who had a huge hit in the 80s that was like this rockabilly thing. But then he came out with this, one of the saddest, greatest albums I've ever heard.
Okay.
John Eddy. Who the hell is John Eddy? So the funniest song, that song is Play Some Seeger, Play Some Petty, Play Some Skinnerd. Who the hell is John Eddy?
Okay.
And but he's got some songs on there that are great. But played a Tori Amos song, A Sort of Fairy Tale, which ended up being one of her biggest hits. That she does not pay live. What the fuck, Tori?
Yeah, I know.
And then they played this little band out of Boston that is now in my top three.
Okay.
Top three of bands. And that is Amsterdam by Guster.
Okay.
I did not know of their first 2 or 3 albums. And I heard Amsterdam and it made me stop.
Yeah.
And I just saw them with the symphony orchestra.
Did you?
In Nashville, and it was phenomenal. I have danced with the lead singer. I saw him at the Bijou. He saw me. He sauntered up to me. He nestled into my chest.
Oh my God.
Oh, have you not heard this story?
No.
He was doing this, walking, and I was like 15 rows back, and he got up to me, and then he just reached in and hugged me and buried his head in my chest, and so I just grabbed him and started dancing with him. And
That's
just
amazing.
reached right and he started.
That's amazing.
So we do that for a couple minutes, and then he gets up, pats me on the chest, and saunters back up to the stage, gets up on the stage, the song ends, and he goes, guys, have you ever danced with a giant dude with a giant beard? And they looked at one another like, nah. And he was like, you got to do it sometime. And then they go to play the next song. They all start to play at the same time, but he plays like 3 chords, and then the rest of the band stops and say, whoa. Hey, man, we just played that song. He was like, I'm still thinking about that giant dude with his giant beard. And he made up a song about me on the spot. And they played improv, and he wrote a song about me.
That's amazing.
So when I saw him live, he came out into the crowd and danced again. I was like,
yeah,
but he danced with many people. He only danced with me.
Yes.
Yes.
I
think it's
and wrote a song. Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, so
That's
Guster,
awesome.
Amsterdam. But the best is, I was going to Pellissippi, and I had a 86 Toyota Camry when they were still subcompact.
Yep.
And I drove all the way from Pellissippi to my parents' house. And as I'm getting towards the end, this song comes on, this piano song, this 96, 97. And I was like, man, this is a beautiful song. Man, this is a sad-ass song. It was winter. It had just started snowing. I back into my parking space, and I just sit in the car with the heat running, listen to this song. And I was like, who the hell is this? And then after the song was over, the DJ came on and said, that was Ben Folds 5 with Brick. I put it in drive, drove out to Easttown Mall, drove out to Easttown Mall and bought the damn CD. And you talk about that, walk up, hand the CD there, whatever and ever amen. And the woman that I had a crush on that was behind the counter said, oh, did you see them live here last week? I was like, no!
What the fuck? Oh,
and I was like,
my
no.
God.
And she was like, oh, they're great.
That's crazy.
And I was like, wait, the woman I have a crush on, she was probably 18. I was probably,
Yeah.
or she was probably 20 and I was probably 18. I was like, she likes this band. I'm like, one step closer.
I don't know why, but I knew that was the song you were going to say. That's amazing.
Just sat there. I just remember the heater running and the snow. That was the most perfect way
to
be
introduced
intro to that song.
Yes.
Brick.
Absolutely.
And I know he hates that song. I fucking love that. I think it's one of those things that I've heard some bands say, like One Hit Wonders say, are you sad that people only know the one song? I've heard some One Hit Wonders go, we're happy it's had such a great impact on their life. I want to go up to Ben Folds and say, you need to realize how much of an impact that song has had on people's lives.
Absolutely.
And do not discredit that. You have had great music.
Mm-hmm.
That album is a great album. Mm-hmm. But you need to understand, I know people want to talk about it, but just own it, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wrote a song.
How lucky are you?
Yeah, you wrote a song that millions upon millions of people, it means so much to them.
Exactly.
Just like a band that means something to you,
yes,
Dry
they
the River.
do.
And here is Alarms in the Heart. That was Dry the River with Alarms in the Heart. Man, I miss these weird segues. Whenever I did the show, I'd be like, speaking of that, I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot.
You're so good at it.
You are sarcastic. No. Okay, here you go. Do you remember what was the first album and what format it was on? Your first album.
Okay.
And it can be given to you. It can be bought with your own money. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay. So if I could do either or, then technically the first album that I ever owned that was mine, somebody gifted to me. It was my 13th birthday. It was Weezer's Blue Album on cassette.
It's weird you mentioned that. For some reason, I've been listening to that album a lot recently. I don't know
so
what
good.
it was. I was like, because I love Only in Dreams.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize. What is it? There's another song on there. Say It Ain't So.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Say It Ain't So was such a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, because I looked up. I think it's like number 2
of their songs.
I think Islands in the Sun is number 1.
Really?
Or
That's kind of interesting.
It's weird. Like the Spotify is like, I was expecting Buddy Holly being. No.
I was thinking that too. Okay,
No.
well, you know.
But like Say It Ain't So is number 2. It's like
That's kind of surprising, but at the same time, I mean, it is a really good song. So, but yeah, so that was the first one that was gifted to me. So technically, that was the first one I ever had. The second album I ever bought was me paying with my own money. It was on CD, and it was Pearl Jam's Vitology.
Oh, the nice paper.
Yeah, yeah. And I was so excited about it, and I took it to my best friend's house, and her mom was very upset that I had brought that kind of music into her home and broke it in half.
What?
Yeah, I didn't even get to listen to it, but it was mine for like a very short period of time. So, yeah.
I think my parents would have killed that person for.
No, I didn't tell. I didn't I didn't tell my parents.
I did get in trouble.
Happened,
my dad opened the door and I was had just started playing Wu-Tang Clan's 36 Chambers. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. He's like, nope, give it to me.
Oh.
So I was Islands in the Sun with 496 million listens.
Wow.
Number 2, Say It Ain't So
Wow.
with 328 million. Buddy Holly, Beverly Hills, and then Undone the Sweater Song.
Wow.
That surprises me about Islands in the Sun.
It really surprises me too. Honestly, the other ones that you said, if you had told me any of those were number 1, I'd be like, okay. Yeah. But Islands in the Sun is a little surprising to me as well.
I wonder if it... See, that's one of those weird things. It's like, man, was it used in like a Minions movie or something?
Probably.
And that's why it is huge.
Well, I mean, you and I have talked about the Kate Bush,
oh, yeah,
phenomenon that she's now experiencing right
well,
now.
And the Metallica Master of Puppets.
Yes, so true.
Yeah.
Good point. Both of those having a little bit of a heyday.
So, Weezer, do you still have the Weezer tape?
Sadly, I do not think that I do. The only cassette tapes that I still have, and I'm a little, not embarrassed to say, but just like surprised to say, they're all personal mixtapes by friends that were gifted to me. So I have a handful of mixtapes from friends, and then this completely random. Most people have never even heard of it, and I'm not saying that like I'm so amazing.
Most people have never heard it. It's Led Zeppelin 4.
It's a soundtrack, which if you know me is not surprising because I'm obsessed with soundtracks. But it's the soundtrack to the movie called The Power of One. And it's Hans Zimmer and like African tribal music.
This. Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. I became obsessed.
How many people Last of the Mohicans is their favorite soundtrack?
Yeah.
That is. Yeah. And that's got a lot of.
It does. Actually, that soundtrack was a huge impetus for like finding music for me as a kid as well. Was that soundtrack? Last of the Mohicans. Yeah. Because of the Clannad song on it, I Will Find You. And so I discovered Clannad that way. And they are actually Enya's brothers and sisters.
Oh,
so Enya,
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, so most people have heard Enya, but almost nobody in the U.S. has heard of Clannad unless you're just really into Irish New Age music. And so Enya is the sister of this other band, but she decided to go her own way and do her own thing, and then they are the rest of the family.
Okay. I don't know if I shared. I think I did a little bit. The first tape that was ever given to me was a Rap's Greatest Hits featuring Run DMC, Fat Boys, Dougie Fresh, and the Get Fresh crew. The first tape I ever bought with my own money is He Who Shall Not Be Named's Best Of, a certain pudding-eating comedian, father of America at one point. Okay. And I can still recite his bits word for word. And I watched the documentary on it, and they start playing, and I literally was sitting there going, Ruba, Ruba, Ruba.
My husband and I were just talking about that exact album that you're,
And then, but the first CD I ever bought, I bought at Farmore by Easttown Mall, which was a precursor to Walmart, and because it had a little bit of everything, and like a Target, whatever, but it was either one of two albums, and they were both scores. And I can't remember. I want to think, if I remember correctly, it was the Batman score, not the Prince album, the score.
Okay.
Because at Boomsday, the end where they would give all the thank yous, they played the main thing, Danny Elfman's main theme from Batman. And I was like, what is that? I love that.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen Batman because I thought it was scary. But the other one that I always think it's really close and is up there for me, maybe one of the best scores, which I want to hear what you say is best scores. I have two that I go back and forth with, but the third one is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That Michael Kamen score is ridiculous.
So good.
You talk about if you need to do work, if you need to clean and be amped, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So top scores for me are The Fountain, by Clint Mansell, Kronos Quartet, and Mogwai. And then The Sleeper that most people don't think about. And I take that back. Tron Legacy is up there. I've listened to Tron Legacy a lot. Daft Punk's Tron Legacy. The one people don't think about is The Village.
I
James
love
Newton-Howard
The Village
with
and
the Hillary
Hahn.
So,
God, yes. Yes.
Because again, this is Ramble Man, and we're just going all over the fucking place.
What you got there?
What is this?
Wait, okay, hold on.
This is a ping pong. I was in Boston for a conference, and I saw this guy, Harushka.
Is that Hillary Hahn's signature?
It is.
Holy shit.
Harushka, I can't pronounce the name, German dude. He played the piano in Hillary Hahn in the Boston Art Museum, where it was all glass, and I watched the sunset on the harbor behind them.
Oh my God.
She playing violin, he playing piano, and he had all these ping pong balls on his piano, and during it, he kept throwing them out. And so one went off to the side, and my buddy, and I went like I was going to grab it, and my buddy Jacoby was like, hold on, and he went and got it, and I walked up. At the end, I bought the album, and I said, I held out the ping pong ball, and I looked at him, and I was like, do you need this back? And he was like, no. And then Hillary looked at him and said, you should sign it. And I was like, yes, you should sign it. And then when he got done, I went, now you sign it. She was like, why? And I was like,
because you're amazing.
You're fucking Hillary Hahn. Are you shitting me? So I got Hillary Hahn's autograph on a fucking ping pong
That's
ball.
fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay.
That Village score. That Village score is tremendous.
Yes. Oh, I 100% agree with you. I am a huge score fan. Like I'm a huge fan of soundtracks in general.
Yeah.
And when my husband and I first met, he kind of made fun of me for it, not in a like that stupid kind of way, but in a he loves to listen to an album as a concept. Like he thinks to himself, these musicians put these songs together for a reason. They go in an order in which the artists want you to listen to them, which makes complete sense to me. But the thing that I love about a soundtrack is that you get the essence of something, the feel of an experience, but interpreted by a lot of different people. And so I really love soundtracks for that reason, but I also am a really big fan of scores. And so I'm totally there with you. I will like trying to just leave out some of the like obvious ones that are amazing, you know, like Jurassic Park and some of the ones that I love. Let's see. I love, and of course, Braveheart and all of those.
Oh, Braveheart's one I
So
may have listened
good.
to more than.
Inception.
Oh, yeah.
Inception's
Another
really
Hans
good.
Zimmer.
Yep.
The Gladiator one is pretty great with the Lisa Gerrard from Dead Can Dance.
Yes. I love Lisa Gerrard and Dead Can Dance. Yeah, love them.
They're another one that they were touring, but I was going to have to fly somewhere, like New York or L.A. to see them.
Yeah.
They
so
got back
good.
together. They're another
Did they
one.
really?
Yeah.
Did they really? I was listening to them just the other day. I put them on.
Yeah.
The Jesse James movie with Brad Pitt and
The
Casey.
Assassination.
Yes, that one's so good with Nick Cave and
Warren Ellis.
Yes.
So, funny
so
story. Do you like Josh Ritter?
Yep.
So, he has a song called Folk Bloodbath.
Okay.
That is that story, but in a song. Wait, no.
Okay.
Wait, am I thinking of that right? Now I'm going to have to look. Keep going.
Okay. So, yeah, definitely those for sure. And then a couple of more recent ones as well that I think, Legends of the Fall.
Legend of the Fall is
So good.
River Runs Through It is good. Like both of those together. Yeah.
But my favorite score is actually a TV show. And it's arguably...
Seinfeld. It's that bass.
No. But it's, to me... And everybody who knows me, I've had this conversation with them probably before. And so they're all probably, if they're listening to this, they're rolling their eyes. I have a lot of thoughts about this TV show, and a lot of people love it or hate it. Like, you either are obsessed or you think it was like one of the dumbest things. But I think that Lost, the TV show, was revolutionary. It was just...
See it right down there? The Blu-ray box set?
Yeah.
I have not I want to rewatch it.
I just rewatched it. So I just watched it with my husband for the first time. His first watching, probably like my sixth. And the thing that's so amazing about the show is that it just came out like 20 years too early.
Yeah.
It needed to be streamed. It needed to be binged. And they couldn't do that at the time. But kind of like how you were talking about Due South, that's how I felt about Lost. It was before its time.
Yeah.
It was something that it was like watching a movie, but on ABC.
Oh, yeah.
Once a week.
Yeah.
Just absolutely tremendous. But the thing that I thought was the most incredible about the show was absolutely the score by Michael Giacchino.
That was his intro. Most people.
Yeah.
I think maybe he did. Did he do Alias too? Or was Lost?
Maybe he did do Alias, but I'd have to check. I'd have to look that up. But I mean, of course, most people know Michael Giacchino now from like
Pixar.
And yeah, exactly. But Lost was really a huge deal for him, and he was phenomenal. You know, each character got their own theme song. Each action in the show got its own theme. And then, you know, he tied that together with just like the overarching theme, and it just all flowed. And it was the most incredible, beautiful songs. And now, like, anytime the music starts, I immediately start tearing up.
So he did video game work, and that's how Abrams found him.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
it was Lost. It was not Alias.
Okay.
So have you ever listened to J.J. Abrams' daughter? She is a pop singer, like Gracie Abrams. She is very good.
Okay. I'll look
Because
her up.
it's very electronic-y and very good.
Okay.
Folk Bloodbath is not the Jesse James, but somebody cut scenes from that film
Okay.
to fit to the song, and it fits almost perfect. And since you just dropped it, somebody also did that for Father John Misty's I Went to the Store One Day to the opening of Up. And it is fucking
wow.
brutal.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
brutal,
Now
'cause
hold
it
on.
is so dead on.
What was JJ's daughter's name?
I think it's Gracie.
Gracie. Okay. I'll.
JJ.
And then you said Father John Misty. Father John. Sorry, I'm typing this into my phone so that I don't lose it.
It is Gracie. Gracie Abrams.
Okay.
She's 22. But so during the pandemic, what I would do is I would go to YouTube trending, and they have like 50 things listed. Any song that was on there, I would listen to it from beginning to end. And it was a lot of Mexican rap music and a lot of mumble bullshit. But that led me down holes, and I saw one of her songs. It was like Artist to Watch right underneath that. And I was like, man, this is a really good song. So I Googled her, and it was like Father JJ. I was like, what the fuck? So, God, I hope he doesn't mind me telling this. I'm not going to mention names, so he doesn't know. I know a guy who makes pedals for a living. For keyboards and for guitars. Okay. Mainly for keyboards. One of his biggest clients is Radiohead. And they fly, he and his wife.
Are you shitting me?
No. And this is a Knoxville-based company.
Oh, my God. Oh,
hey,
my
man,
God.
if you get wind of this, I'm sorry that I'm telling your stories. But one of his other biggest clients is J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams makes
Holy
music.
crap.
And during... I don't know that I should say this.
Okay.
So J.J. Abrams during the pandemic was in a state other than California. Mm-hmm. And my friend was like, he will just email me and say, hey, man, I would like to order these pedals. Mm-hmm. And so my friend would be shit scared and would take 4 hours to get back to him. And he said, I'm not kidding. I would email him, and within 20 minutes, JJ would email back. And he always wanted to respond with, aren't you too busy to be emailing me? And he said, but then there was one point where JJ was at. He's like all this detailed. He's like, I need these pedals, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, because Brian Eno is coming to my house, and he was like, can I come? I'm going to hand deliver these because I want to meet Brian Eno. Yeah. And I want to fuss at Ashley Caps, and now I guess I can fuss at Casey Fox, and now I've lost her name. Why the hell Brian Eno hasn't curated a Big Ears is ridiculous. Yeah. Bring David Byrne here. Like, bring, now I'm going to, Daniel Lanois. He'll bring you two here. Like, why he has not curated a Big Ears is ridiculous to me.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, good Lord, we went all over the place.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay, first album, and we did scores.
Yes.
Okay. I have a shit ton of scores in there because I love it. Is the best. I actually made a playlist for Sean where he was like, man, when I work, I always have the hardest time finding stuff to listen to. I was like, oh, give me a minute. I made him a playlist, and it's a lot of, it's scores, but it's also like Godspeed You Black Emperor, This Will Destroy You, Explosions in the Sky. I was like, this is a lot of music to where you don't, there's no lyrics, so you just hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's another playlist that's on there. Okay, so the next band I had heard of, or I can't remember if it's a band or just a singer. Okay. It's Low Moon with Loveless. I think I've got like one song I found on I was kind of looking through, my iTunes is still iTunes from 2003. So I have songs I pulled from blogs and shit. And I think Low Moon is one that's on there. So how did you find Low Moon?
I found Low Moon because they were an opening act. Okay. And I had gone to see a band that will remain nameless because I'm not dogging the band. I'm really not. But my husband and I had gone to go see a band play in Asheville. and Low Moon was opening. Had never heard of them, didn't look them up beforehand. They started playing, and I was blown away.
I'm realizing I'm thinking of Low Fang.
Oh,
not
okay.
Low Moon. So
Okay.
I've not heard of Low Moon.
Okay. So, yeah, so they're opening for this band. This band. And they were just so good. Like, super tight, very crisp. Like, they worked so well together. The vocals were great. The sound was amazing. And then, you know, by the time they're done, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, yeah, I'm excited about what I'm about to see, but like, can they just come back out? And this band comes out, you know, the headliner, they're playing and they're good. And I'm bopping around to the music. But all I could think about was the opening act because they were better than the band that I had come to see. And so I've followed them ever since then, found their music immediately. The stuff that they had been playing was their debut album, their self-titled debut album. Okay. And they're a band out of, I think it's LA. Currently, I don't think that that's where all of the musicians are from. Actually, I think the lead singer's from New York, if I'm not mistaken. But they're currently an LA band. And just fantastic. They came out with their sophomore album not too long ago, and they just toured with War on Drugs.
Oh, great.
And, yep. And then I was supposed to go see them while they were touring with War on Drugs, and then it was during COVID when things were getting canceled all the freaking time. And so that ended up not working out, but they went on their own tour and came to Nashville, and they were playing at the Mercy Lounge. It was the last night the Mercy Lounge was open.
They're getting so much promotion on this album. Oh, wait, they're gone. They're gone. So,
yeah. So we went, my husband and I and some friends, we went and saw Low Moon not that long ago when they came to Nashville. And they're going to be touring with Metric in Europe next year.
Nice.
So, yeah. And they're so amazing. They're so cool. Fantastic live. Both times that I've seen them now, they were tremendous. And then I got to meet the lead singer at this last show, and he was just so gracious to take time to talk to us, and just really nice. And they're fantastic.
Okay. Well, let's give them a listen. This is Low Moon with Loveless. That was Low Moon with Loveless. Do you go to... Well, I already know this answer. What the hell? I was going to say, do you go to a lot of live shows? So during the pandemic, was it kind of... Like, how many shows do you think y'all went to before the pandemic?
Before the pandemic, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. But I will say, though, that I realized how important it was to me.
Yeah.
When things started opening back up, because that's what we did immediately, shows upon shows. I think we went to like 3 shows in 2 weeks. And, you know, I mean, we both work full-time jobs and we've got kids, and we prioritize the shit out of live shows.
Well,
right
I guess
after.
It was me struggling money-wise was the opposite. Mm-hmm. I stopped going to people I've seen before and started focusing on the ones like... I've never seen Sigur Rós, and I finally went and saw him at the Ryman, and it was $170 for my ticket, and plus I stayed in. I ate all that stuff.
Yeah, it's an expensive venture.
That was a $350 trip.
Yep.
And I was like, no, I would rather do that. I'm going to make fun of somebody a little bit, than spend $35 to see Scott Miller for the 40th time.
Sure.
So I started prioritizing going to the Guster show with the symphony. Mm-hmm. Oh, that Sigur Rós show, there were 2 moments where I started physically shaking and crying so much that I was like, I'm going to start scaring people.
They're your favorite, right? I mean, like, love them. Yeah.
They're, and what sucks is there's a guy I'm friends with that went to high school with those guys, and when I posted the photo, he's like, I wish you would let me know. I probably could get you backstage. And I was like,
of course.
I was like, I don't know that I would have took you up on that, because I probably would have just looked at Jaunty and started crying. And he is tiny. And I'm like, it is not a pretty sight to see me cry. So, so I've done the opposite. I've kind of prioritized seeing stuff that, like, I've also... So Dad will never listen to this. I just took him to see Jimmy Vaughn at the Bijou. I haven't given it to him yet because his birthday is September 3rd. I'm taking him to see Mavis Staples at the Bijou Theater in October. If you haven't got tickets.
I saw that she was going to be here.
So I'm taking him to that. I was like, no, I've kind of doubled down to where I've bought shit ton of tickets for him. Mm-hmm. Took him to see Kingfish, the blues kid, who I saw at Open Chord when he was like 18, like 4 years ago. And then I took him to see Dad to see him. And then laughed because the next week he won the Grammy. I was like, hey, that kid we just saw, you didn't know who he was? He just won the Grammy. And Dad was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like,
man. Yeah, I think, for us, more than anything else, that was the thing that we were like, we miss live music. And so I think we did a bit of a blend. We did see some shows that we had seen before, but they were favorites.
Yeah,
and so, of course, we're going to go see, like, our favorites. And then a couple that we hadn't ever seen before, like Manchester Orchestra and I can't remember one of the other ones. But, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a mix.
I think I saw them back in the day open for somebody at the Tennessee. Manchester Orchestra.
Probably.
And it was probably somebody like Grizzly Bear or something like that. I remember that.
The nice thing about that show was kind of like what you were talking about, where like they just play the album. Like they walked up onto the stage and they're like, hi, thanks for having us. Bam. Played the entire, just no breaks. There's no talking. There was there was nothing. It was just song after song after song. It just straight through. But it was fantastic. They were amazing.
Oh God. Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so you go to a lot of live shows.
Yes.
And this was a question I had in the pandemic, but I still love keeping it because I love hearing what people say. Now that things are open back up, if you could pair musician and venue, could be anything. Money is spare no expense, to quote the great John Hammond from Jurassic Park. Spare no expense. Where would you go and who would you see?
Oh God, that's so hard.
And I'll tell you mine afterwards.
Because I wanted
like you've been everywhere. So
well, no, I mean not really, but I want to like make shit up. I want to make a show happen that would never happen. But I will say that I would love to see an amazing performer in an amazing city versus like them coming to Knoxville or so. I would probably see this person anywhere. But let's just, for shits and giggles, we're just going to say like Central Park.
Okay.
Because big open air, you're looking at the scenery and buildings and everything. One of the things about live music, I kind of go one of two ways. Either I feel like you need to put on an amazing show. I need to be entertained. Like you need to have, effects and dancing and all kinds of stuff going on. Or you need to be musically or vocally fantastic.
Okay.
Because if you're not really one or the other, then it's kind of like, okay. So this person, I feel, is just so vocally incredible that I can't imagine. I can't even imagine what a show with him would be like. But anyway,
I would love to. Scott Stapp?
No.
Sorry, Chad Kroger? Sorry, I'm running down my list. Who else? No.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hosier.
Oh, shit. So Lyndsey.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay.
He played the Ryman. Mm-hmm. She went and saw him at the Ryman and then went to Agrifeed, whatever that restaurant is in Nashville. Went down there and he performed on the rooftop afterwards.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
I thought when you first started saying I thought you were going to say Jose Gonzalez.
Oh, well, also.
Oh, great soundtrack. Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh, my God. Fantastic movie.
Unbelievable movie.
For like life-changing movie, honestly, for some people that I know. But also, if you haven't seen that, go see that movie because it's amazing. But the soundtrack is phenomenal as well.
So Hosier.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to see him live because I feel like he, vocally with his background, and he was in an Irish chorale group called Anuna. And so he has like classical training, like he is vocally incredible. And then his dad is a blues musician. And so, you put those together and he's just phenomenal. I just have a feeling that he would be one of those people that is as good or better live than he would even be on the album. And I feel like a lot of people can't achieve that vocally as much as they would like to. It's hard. We're imperfect instruments. I kind of feel like he's not that. I feel like he would be a perfect instrument, and I would love to hear it live.
Yeah. Well, it's wild because I'm also always curious. Do you choose someone you've already seen before? So you Central Park, okay? Yeah,
It's probably not like the best music venue that New York has to offer, of course, but I'm just thinking like something that would make me feel I don't know, like something just by being there, because it's, you're surrounded by all of the lights of the city and I just think it would be a good feeling.
Said a dirty Tuesday night show at the Pilot Lot that started at 11 p.m. I don't care who it is, and there's 30 of us there. Because those are my jams. But then it hit me. I was like, I'm an idiot. I've never been to Red Rocks, so it would be Red Rocks.
That was my other thought.
And who I would see is David Gilmour before he passes away. Because I've also heard that his live show, A, he's one of the best guitar players ever.
And
of
B,
course, his live show is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I would choose him over Roger Waters because I think Roger Waters is an asshole.
He is a total asshole.
And then he just came out and he was like, I'm more important than Harry Styles and the Weeknd.
My husband and I were having this conversation right before I left to come here.
Just stop fucking talking.
He's talking. Yeah, okay, maybe in the grander scheme of things, like Pink Floyd is...
They are
a better, but like, shut your pie hole, man. Yeah. He's so frustrating. But David Gilmour
also heard The Wall live is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Gilmour.
Have you seen like a live, like a video of it, or it looks amazing.
See Gilmour at Red Rocks.
That would be incredible.
So once I got this job and I started trying to look at Red Rocks, because I got a friend who lives in Boulder, free place to stay.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get tickets to Red Rocks, and I hate it. I hate it, hate.
Yeah.
You have to be in the first 50 rows.
You do.
Because if you're anything behind that, it's pointless. And the resellers are killer.
I know.
I will say, Bruce Springsteen started doing something. He's the first person I saw this. He's doing shows next year. He worked with Ticketmaster and has 2-factor authentication to buy tickets. He was like, to cut down on spammers,
nice.
You have to do 2-factor authentication.
Okay.
You can't just go on and buy. And I was like, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Good for him.
Because I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah.
Red Rocks, I looked at that schedule for this year, and I was like, there's so many 9 Inch Nails. I've seen 9 Inch Nails like half a dozen times, but seen them there.
I know.
National, I was like, and I sat there and refreshed on National, and it was before... I was like, are you pre-selling the first 50 rows or something? Because what the hell's going on?
My husband and I, we're actually going to Colorado next week. And so I was like looking at their schedule.
Yeah, Lord Huron. Huron. So I said 3 bands, Sigur Rós, Guster, Lord Huron. Or those.
Yeah.
The Midnight may be up there now. The Midnight is the one do you know the Midnight?
I've heard of them, but I've not.
Sound like the 80s.
Okay. Putting that on my list.
And I'm going to... pull this up for before you leave. I will show you about 30 seconds into this video. I will guarantee you will be a huge Midnight fan.
Okay.
Just saw them at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, and they were unbelievable.
Okay. I saw Lord Huron a couple of years ago. I guess it was at the Signal in Chattanooga.
Oh my!
It was
God.
really good. It was really good. They did a great job.
A very small venue for them. So I saw them a little bit in Raleigh. Raleigh has an amphitheater that is free and open from Red Hat, the software company. And I was there for a conference, and I looked it up, and it was like, oh my God. I think their second album had just come out. That's the one I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, they're here. Oh my God. And they're opening act. And the person that was with me, I was like, they're a newer band. They're starting to break. But not a lot of people know about them. They're called Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. And it was same way. It was like they were
Yes.
there during the daytime. Not that many people there for Nathaniel Rateliff.
Yeah.
And it was, once they played SOB, it exploded.
Yeah.
Even the people who didn't know the songs were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was a really good concert,
and then Lord
too.
Huron. And then the person I was with was a friend, not a partner or anything. I was like, I'm tired. I'm going to take an Uber back. I was like, no, I'll drive you back. Can we just stay and see a little bit more? And we only made it for like 5 songs. And it was like, and it was unbelievable. But I was so angry. I was like, I should let her take a damn it. I was afraid because we were at an Airbnb and I did not trust her at all to not fall asleep and lock me out.
Yeah.
I totally would have done it had I not worried about that.
Yeah. Oh, what a
And
bummer.
I still am pissed at her over that.
Yeah. Yeah, Nathaniel Rateliff was really good live. I bought tickets from my parents not long after I saw them because I was like, oh man, my dad is going to love this. And yeah, they did. Had a fantastic time.
Now I'm trying to find, let's see, The Midnight. Shit, I can't think of. Well, there's so many good choices that I don't even know where to start. So their fans, you can see it here, cut 80s films to their songs. And this is
fantastic.
not the right version. The song that hooked me on them was the song Los Angeles. That's
Okay.
not the right one.
Okay.
Somebody cut La La Land to it, but there's like a 7-minute version
Okay.
that is so much better that yep, look at that. I've searched for it before.
There it
Imagine that.
Oh, there it is.
7 minutes.
Okay.
And actually,
yeah.
I'm going to do this in the background because it's too good. I'm going to mute it so we don't hear an ad. And I hope I don't get caught for doing this. Okay, so Hosier. Mm-hmm. He's kind of disappeared.
He has, and that's why he is that's partly why he's my choice, is because I feel like by making up some magical concert, that's the only way I'm going to see this guy.
It's time for a
because
comeback.
I feel like he's just kind of one of those people, like he loves to make the music, but maybe he doesn't necessarily like the touring aspect of things. And I just feel like he would blow me away.
Probably. Okay. While this is going, we'll do commentary over it. So I won't get in too much trouble. Hey, The Midnight, I'm a huge fan, and I promote the shit out of y'all, so get off my ass. La La Land. How do you feel about La La Land?
So I had really high hopes for it. I do like it.
Yeah.
But I don't like it as much as I wanted to. I feel like I needed to give it a bit of a break, and I need to go back in and watch it again.
So I saw it in the theater. Mm-hmm. Felt weird about it at the end. I hate the opening. The opening.
Yeah.
It's too cheesy, but I love the two of them together.
I
also
agreed.
don't like that it's a white dude trying to save jazz. That's kind of a...
Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
So this is The Midnight.
Oh, yeah.
And it's...
Okay.
It didn't even make it 30 seconds. Spent like 15 seconds in it. It's like,
I'm sold.
I have all the vinyl, and listen to this on vinyl.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous.
I believe it.
Okay.
And
I'll let this keep playing till the chorus. And then I swear we'll cut it off.
Okay.
But
I'm sold though.
I will. And then I left the theater going, I didn't super like it.
Yeah.
But it made me think so much. Mm-hmm. And then I finally read about it, and it was like, oh, the inspiration this, and we're going to cut the chorus right here. I've listened to this song a lot.
I'm bopping my head. You can't see it. I'm just letting you know. Bopping
my head. I would be willing to bet your kids will like this.
I wouldn't doubt that, because my kids have really good taste in music.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course they love everything that's age appropriate right now. Like my oldest daughter really loves, Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez and Harry Styles and everybody, Miley Cyrus. But she loves a lot of music that we listen to as well. Yeah. She loves Broods. Yeah, really loves. My younger daughter is obsessed with Churches. Their album Love is Dead.
Churches.
Yeah, Love is Not Dead. And so every time we get in the car, she asks for that. and she'll pick like a song and we have to put on that
So
song.
weird thing about them, my favorite song by them is where the dude sings. It's that You Caught the Light.
Yes!
That is a
Yes!
that is a straight up 80s song. That is a
Yeah.
straight up The Cure song.
He needs to do. I love The Cure. Anyway, he loves. He loves. He needs to do more of those. He needs to do
Yeah.
more songs on their albums because all of the songs that he does are fantastic.
I'm just going to point out, it's one of my favorite lyrics I've heard.
Okay.
If we live forever, let us live forever tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. No criticism
You could,
there.
if they like this movie, show them the 7-minute version because it has the intro and everything. But so I have watched that film almost as a comfort film. And I just skip over the beginning.
Okay.
The film that inspired it is this French film called The Umbrella of Cherbourg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To where I was like, I'm going to watch that. And I watched it. And I told somebody about this at a movie podcast. And I can't figure out what to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this sad longing for hope.
Mm-hmm. Like kind of this melancholy.
Yes. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Oh,
Mind.
yes.
That ending to where I
Yes.
immediately want to watch it again.
Yes.
And that's how I think La La Land, Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Eternal Sunshine. It's almost like I almost want to
homesick.
cry,
Like it's just like a homesick
but
feeling
it's like
almost.
sad and hopeful and sad and morose and just all the emotions at once.
Yep.
And it's Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Exact same.
Yep.
I know
Agreed.
you feel hopeful, but there's also
Love
this just
Shawshank.
like there's this aching inside. So
Yep.
this film, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, when I watched it, I was just like, they can't sing. This is weird. And when I got to the end, it was literally like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio. Sorry, that's what I called him for decades. From Once Upon a Time, where he's like, there it is. To where when I saw the end of Umbrellas of Cherbourg, I was like, holy shit, he just stole the ending and put it, sorry, spoiler, for La La Land. He literally stole the ending. And put it, So I have a weird hate with that movie.
I get it. I get it.
When I put it on, it is like a warm blanket. Like it is.
I have a number of movies like that where it's like that just kind of bittersweet, like
bittersweet. That's a great
like that like you said, kind of like hopeful but aching.
Yeah.
It's just I have like a list of movies like that that I could give you because that's how I am too. Like most of my comfort movies are not necessarily happy.
Yeah, now I'm looking at the Blu-rays next to you, and I don't think there's a lot of that.
500 Days of Summer.
So that's a great soundtrack, but that's also one that I don't think with age has done really well.
Gotcha.
And I actually don't like her anymore.
Oh,
I don't like her for whatever reason. I'm just not a fan. I also did figure out in the pandemic that Apocalypse Now, while not my favorite film, may be a perfect film, that there's no way it could ever be recreated because of all the chaos that went around that film.
Yeah.
And the weird shit of like the story of Brando. They paid him, let's say, $1 million to be in Apocalypse Now. He had 5 days. So Coppola tells this story on the bonus scenes. He had 5 days. Excuse me. He said, first off, Brando showed up, and he was like 250 pounds. And he was like, and in the script, he was supposed to be a badass Marine.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. So they had to cloak him in black and put him in shadow. I was like, oh, that's
Genius.
a fortuitous accident.
Yeah.
Like that is, and then it was day one, he started having questions about the script and essentially fucked with him all day. It's like 4 days left. He was trying to do that to not have to act. And he finally got like at lunchtime on day 3, Coppola's like, no, we're going to go shoot now. Like, you're done. And they shot for 2.5 days and got that performance. Like, that's bonkers.
Amazing.
But it's like nothing will ever fuck up that much and be so second by second perfect. Like even the stuff about Martin Sheen having a heart attack playing, like it's so weird how perfect it is. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. There's definitely a short list of, I would say, movies that could never be remade for that. Yeah.
We said it before. Love Actually has that same feeling. That when I went and saw it in the theater by myself, and it was me and a bunch of women. And it was like at the
I don't
end, I'm
doubt
sitting
that.
there trying not to cry.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was really like, holy shit, this is like sad and hopeful. And
Have you ever seen Beginners with Ewan McGregor and Christopher Plummer
it is
and Melanie Laurent?
unbelievable. The one I haven't seen
one
is
of my favorites.
About Time. I keep hearing About Time is amazing, but I've also heard it'll wreck me.
Okay, so I don't think he won't mind. He won't mind me telling this because he'll tell everybody else. It's my husband's favorite movie.
Okay.
Now,
I think it's one of my cousin's favorite films,
if you were to ask him 5 years ago what his favorite movies were, he would have probably said like Tombstone and Back to the Future and of course classics like how could you get better? But he loves that movie more than I do. Like he will ask to put it on all the time, and like it's one of his comfort movies, and there are just parts of it that are just emotionally perfect. I don't know. It's really good.
There's a film over there that I got to see in previews when I worked at the paper, and I think up until the last scene, it is a perfect movie, and it's one of my dad's favorite films, and it's called Definitely Maybe with Ryan Reynolds. I think the last scene with him and
Isla Fisher.
I hate that. I wish it would have just ended with him
Really?
and Elizabeth Banks, spoiler alert, in Central Park, ended on a somber note. I wish...
Interesting.
Because I think that is the love of his life is his daughter. I don't like that it tried to make it a sappy ending of him getting that girl.
Okay,
But my dad, like, that's a weird, like...
Yeah. No, it is. But I actually really like that movie, and my husband likes it too. We just watched it actually not long ago.
I saw that in the theater, and it was all women.
Yep.
And then I ran into these young women who, one of them worked at the paper. They were all in their early 20s. I was like 30. Like, I wasn't old. But I turned around and I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they're like, you came here? I was like, they told me it's going to be Rambo. And they were like, really? I was like, no.
No.
Actually, like, y'all are out of your minds. No, this is great.
It's really good. It's a cute one.
Okay.
For sure.
Definitely Maybe. I haven't watched that film in a while.
Yeah,
I don't like that ending.
I do get what you're saying, but I feel like they hinted at it throughout the movie, and so then I think maybe they felt like they couldn't at least provide some closure there, and so that's how they did it. Maybe they could have done it a little more subtly, or like alluded to it without actually showing it.
If I can be a dick, if they had cast a better actress in that wasn't so young and so it seemed too set up and perfect. Like I saw it happening throughout the whole film.
Okay.
I was like, man, if this was like go back 5 to 10 years, if that was Janine Garofalo, I would have loved it. If it was somebody who wasn't a little too perfect and a little bit too, if that makes sense.
I do see what you're saying.
If it was somebody like Kate Beckinsale, that's a serendipity. If it was somebody like that to where it was not to, sorry if you like Isla Fisher.
I do like Isla Fisher. I think she's hilarious. Like, I think she's a really good comedic actress. And and I like her character in that movie a lot. But I do see what you're saying, because I do love, like, one of my favorite movies from the 90s is The Truth About Cats and Dogs with Janine Garofalo and Ben Chaplin. And I think her character in that movie is fantastic.
I'm trying to remember, what's the movie with her and Uma Thurman, where it's almost
that's
like
it. That's
Cyrano,
Truth About
Cyrano
Cats and
de
Dogs.
Bergerac. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've seen that a lot, but I haven't seen it in forever. But
Yeah. That has a really good soundtrack, too. Cowboy Junkies.
God.
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, she was one, I was like, man, if this was like 5 to 10 years ago, Janine Garofalo, because it would have been, because I feel like that's what she was trying to be, kind of like rebellious and punk and a little bit. And I was like, Isla Fisher's a little too perfect, a little too.
I see what you're saying.
Cutesy, a little too cutesy.
Okay, all right.
To be a misogynistic pig.
Okay.
I'm sure I can say it about many dudes, but
yeah, I mean, I do like her in that role, and so I'm happy with the movie as it is, but I can see what you're saying. I do.
So there's another one over there that is up there for me that a lot of people don't think about. Now I'm trying to... Shit, what is it called? It's got them two. I'm going to point at them on screen.
Oh,
It's the one with
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that with zero expectations.
Good. It's so
I
good.
loved it.
So good.
The backyard fight sequence.
Oh
is
my
still one of
God.
the funniest.
Yes. Steve
Where
Carell.
Gosling's like, oh.
Steve Carell is phenomenal, and Julianne Moore. All of them. Honestly, the cast was just amazing all the way around, and the music was good. I love "Blood" by the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
Love that song. So good.
But that I will pull up that fight sequence on YouTube every once in a while because it's what is his name? David something.
Oh God. Anyway, it's Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
I rarely remember the character names, but I always remember the actor names.
God, I'm trying to find it. Where is it?
Yeah.
David
Lindhofer.
Lindhofer.
Or something like that. David Lindhofer.
It's just saying Lind, but it's where he comes up and I think it's Julianne Moore goes, "Oh hey David," and Ryan Reynolds just turns around, David Lindhofer, and then Steve Carell's like, David Lindhofer. Starts remembering his reason.
Yes.
Punching him.
God, I know. That's probably not even his name in the movie, but
it's something like
it
that.
is. It's yeah.
It's so good. Oh my God. Okay. Let's. Good Lord, you got kids to go home to. You got to expose them to the midnight. We got to get you out of here.
Yeah, the hubby will take care of that. Okay. So yeah, we're good.
Text him. Make them listen to this song, and we will talk about it right now. Okay, so the next band, London Grammar with Hell
to the Liars.
Okay, good Lord, I couldn't read there for a second. So how did you find London Grammar?
London Grammar was a recommendation by a friend. My husband went to grad school at UT for a while for vocal performance. And so that's how he knows Brandon Gibson. And
oh, okay.
Yeah. And so a classmate of theirs had moved, and we've stayed in touch with her. And so she was texting us about music, and she said, there's this band that I've heard of. I think you guys would really like it. And it was just immediate love.
That was a weird trend to where it was like them. There were a few of them and Daughter was another big one. I think Daughter preceded them. That I just heard via music blogs and stuff. They do a great cover of NXS's Devil Inside.
Yes, they do.
That is very good.
It
It's
is
on my
really
covers
good.
playlist. Like,
is it?
yeah. There's another band that I like that not a lot of people know called John Hart Jackie. And so the weird thing about them is they do not have that big of a following. So every time I tweet about them, they respond with "Thank you."
Oh, that's so sweet. I love bands like that. I love that.
They do a cover of a Prince song that I never heard of called "When You Were Mine," and it's great. Their cover is great.
Okay, hold
so
on.
I found them. I went to
down too.
Here's a weird one: Banff, the movie festival short film. So those people, their short films, they cut them to music. So that's how I found like Ben Howard, John Hart Jackie. That's how I found a few bands was these short form adventure films cut to, and I don't know that they ever got rights or permission, but because it was just like festival, you know. But that's how I found John Hart Jackie.
Awesome.
They had a song called Deep as Wells that was really good.
Okay.
But
yeah,
London Grammar, okay, so you found out through a friend.
Yeah, was definitely a recommendation by a friend. And at that point, they had very recently come out with their debut album. Absolutely loved it. Immediately went to see if they were touring. And I think they were touring not long after that, but they weren't coming anywhere near here. And as I told you, we ended up driving to Indianapolis to be able to see them. And so just saw their show in this tiny little place. It was the smallest venue I've ever been in.
Because I think the closest I've ever come to seeing them is they were opening for somebody big.
Like, yeah, they've opened for a lot of people.
Or somebody, but they opened for somebody huge.
They've opened for a lot of huge bands. Right now, they're actually opening for Coldplay on their tour.
Okay.
So they're doing that right now. But they have a huge following in their own right over, in the UK and in Europe.
And I don't even know if Daughter's still around anymore, but I know London Grammar is.
Yeah, London Grammar came out with a new album not that long ago, so they have 3 of them now. and they're really just fantastic. They haven't been to the States in a long time, so I would like for them to come back, and maybe a little bit closer than Indianapolis would be preferable. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Daughter is still around.
Oh, okay.
They were on 4AD. I think that's how I found them, because 4AD
Okay.
releases so many. Dead Can Dance was
Yep.
a 4AD band. But yeah, I think they preceded Undergrammar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird, because all of those make me think of Portishead.
Oh, love
Yeah.
Portishead. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you heard that, the Beth Gibbons, Patrick Wilson, or whatever solo album, Rustin Man.
No.
Beth Gibbons, Rustin Man solo album.
Hold on.
Really
I got to
good.
write this down.
I'm giving you so much homework.
Yes, you are. But I will take it
It's called
willingly.
Out of Season. So I bought it when it came out on CD.
Okay.
They
Adding
were
that to the
one I
list.
didn't find until their second album.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Wandering Stars somehow. And I was like, who's this? And I went and bought their albums at the Disc Exchange. R.I.P. the Disc Exchange.
Oh, man. Right?
Okay. But somebody that came around long after the Disc Exchange had gone, R.I.P., is London Grammar with Hail to the Liars. That was London Grammar with Hail to the Liars. All right, so you've mentioned friends, live shows, but how do you seek out new music and new musicians outside of that?
Well, definitely friends. Like you said, I have a small group of friends that we text about music and kind of introduce each other to things that we find, or play music that we're in the mood for. And, you know, odds are at least one person hasn't heard of it.
Yeah.
And
I've got to
then
write
what-
down all these playlists I got to send you. Because I just thought of another one I got to send you. Good Lord.
I've got a couple of playlists as well that I could send your way. But yeah, so definitely friends. You referenced, like, you know, using a music app and then looking down and it said suggested. Yeah, definitely a lot that way. My husband is really good at every Friday finding the new releases, and he'll just pick something at random.
Okay.
Like, you know, who is that? No idea. Let's listen to it. He's really good about that. And so he has introduced me to a lot of things just by checking that out. Yeah, so I think that's one of the nice things about music apps now, is that you really do have like a large selection of, if you like this, you might like, you know, X or whatever, like, you know, suggested music has really been amazing, because odds are you're going to like something that they're offering to you.
Yeah. See,
so,
back in the
yeah,
day,
a lot
in the
that
early
way.
days of podcasts, they were actually like KXP and KCRW
Mm-hmm.
would release a song of the day. And that's how I
yeah.
found like Josh Ritter
Yeah.
and
yeah.
some of those bigger bands that or
Yeah.
singers that I love. Jose
For
Gonzalez,
sure.
I think I found that way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, up until very recently, I found a lot on the radio.
Yeah.
And I hate to say, I don't want to say that radio's dead, because I don't think that that's true, but I
think if you tune into DVX or WUOT,
Mm-hmm.
you will find, or UTK, you will find. Hell,
Yeah.
I interviewed a guy for this podcast because there was one night I was like, I don't want to put on an album, so I just turned on the radio and I had on WUOT, and the song moved me so much that I spun around my chair and stared at my radio. And it's this classical from a
Okay.
guy from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra.
okay.
That the whole album is good, but the first 3 songs, which are part of one piece,
Okay.
made me start crying.
And it is
God.
what?
This is going to look bad on me because I can't remember his name.
Nah, that's
Why
all
can't
right.
I not remember his name? But if I look up Ramblin' Man, the minute I see it, I'm going to get angry at myself for forgetting his name. But I will find it as we're doing this. The 2 other, I'll tell you this while I'm looking this up. The 2 other ones I need to send you is in our prayer circle group for cigars. We started talking one night, and it's like, man, there's been a lot of good pop music come out in the last few years. So what we did is we was like, you have to present 3 songs or 3 artists that came out within the last 3 to 5 years. And of course it's me, and I did fucking 50. And it was like the best song I found in the last 10 years is this guy called Child, Child.
Yes, I checked him out after.
Pirouette.
Yes, I checked him out after you mentioned that song.
So, God, why is this not loading? Why am I not Michael Kurth? Michael Kurth. Yes, I spelled it right. Michael, Kurth.
Okay.
So the album, no, not Albuquerque.
We have a group of friends that's kind of similar to what you were talking about with the prayer circle. Like, we will get together and listen to music, and we'll have a theme. We'll pick a theme, and then everybody.
He told me about this.
Yes, I think we talked about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then everybody who shows up has to pick like 2 or 3 songs within that theme, whatever it happens to be. And then sometimes we'll have free nights, but we'll try to pick something.
So my friends, before the pandemic, we did a coffee night where it would have to be prompt. We'd either all have to bring a scene from a film, or there was one night where we picked songs. I was like, the only problem with picking songs is like me and this guy James picked like 12-minute long songs.
Yeah.
It's really awkward to just sit there and stare at a TV while we did that.
Yeah.
The piece, the 3 songs, is called Everything Lasts Forever.
Everything.
That's also the name of the album.
Lasts Forever.
But it's like the middle piece, I'm not a fan.
Okay.
The middle piece is my favorite piece. Bird, Sing, Love. It sounds like something out of Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but that's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to remember, like, each one of the first one reminds me a little bit, for some reason, of the score to The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. And the third one almost sounds like Aaron Copland. Very America, bombastic. Yeah. Like I said, it should have been in a superhero movie. Like it is so good. So the other playlist, I started a playlist called Listen Now. And whenever I hear something that's a one-off, I just dump it in there, and it's got like 100-something songs. And it starts out with a cover song, Haley Reinhart, who was on The Voice or Postmodern Jukebox, her doing The Cranberry Dreams, which I think is almost untouchable, until I saw her version used in the Dumbo trailer and started weeping like a 3-year-old.
Okay, now I got to listen to this too, because I've not heard that.
It is so huge. I think Dolores would be proud of that song. Yeah. And I love that song.
I do too. It's so good. It's so good.
And here's a weird thing. Movie rights. Mm-hmm. The first Mission Impossible film, I saw it in the theater. Have you seen Mission Impossible, the first one?
A very long time ago.
So the last scene, spoiler alert, is Ving Rhames and Tom Cruise in a bar in Ireland having a beer. Mm. And Dreams plays over it. If you watch it anywhere now, you'll never find that. Or if you hear it, it's so down in the mix. I was like, nope. When I saw that in the theater, it was cranked up. Because I think he was inside and it was supposed to be on the radio.
Gotcha.
So, so I now have 4 playlists.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that Michael Kurth.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out.
And they played all 3 of those songs back to back to back. And I'm just staring at the radio. And I was like, now I got to stay awake and figure out what the hell this is. Because I just turned on, I was like, I'm answering emails. I don't want to put on another record. I was like, I just want something playing in the background. And it stopped me dead in my tracks, and I had to sit up and listen. And then I just emailed the dude. And he's like, yeah, I'll be on your podcast. And he was awesome.
Holy shit.
He was awesome.
That's amazing.
I've tried that with a lot of people, and I've not gotten many responses. I'm kind of disappointed. I realized, I was like, I asked this dude that I found that's in the playlist. I found him, I think on TikTok. Somebody used his music. I was like, I don't know who that dude is, but he has a song called Georgia. And he was like, why are these people singing about Colorado? Georgia, you were always on my mind. I was like, oh, God, it's so great. It's so great. Okay. We're going to wrap it up here in hour 4. Good God, we've been going for 2 hours. Holy shit. Sorry. Maybe I should have forewarned you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
So before we go out, wait. So the last song is Jacob Banks with Caroline. So how'd you find Jacob Banks?
I don't know. I don't remember. I was just racking my brain about that. Like, how did I find Jacob Banks? I don't remember. He could have been a recommendation by a friend, which would be like having a partner who is a musician, went to school for music, and then having expansive groups of friends who are all musically inclined. We all recommend a lot of music to each other. So I'm sure that that's where it came from. Very likely a friend named Jason out of Memphis. Very possibly. For some reason, that's
okay.
I'm feeling like that's a yes, but who knows. Anyway, love him so much. He's a Nigerian British man. And
would not have expected that out of Jacob Banks. Expected a white dude from Fresno.
No, definitely not a white dude from Fresno. No. And he's got this incredible growl. Probably the songs that people would be most familiar with or would have been likely to hear of his, maybe playing somewhere would be Chain Smoking, Unknown to You, and oh man, there's another one that's pretty popular, for him.
Yeah.
Oh crap. It's gone. Flew away. But for whatever reason, I really love Caroline. I love all those other songs and plethora of other songs by him. He's a really talented guy. But I just chose Caroline because it has a good feeling, like it just makes me a little warm and fuzzy inside. So he's a talented.
So I'm going to go with Unknown to You. Is the number one song on Spot. It's not number one, but it's got the most plays.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Chain Smoking, Blame.
Okay.
By Design, Evil Knievel, and Found.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Slow Up. Slow Up is the other one that I was
War,
going to say that people might know.
Oh, with Louis the Child. Mm-hmm. So my friend Holly is a huge Louis the Child fan. So
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, he is. Jacob is really good. I have not seen him in concert. Unfortunately, I was supposed to go, couldn't get a babysitter. One of us had to stay home. I sent the hubby with a friend, and
bastard.
I know.
He made it to the end. He was like, "Damn it, Jody, don't throw me under the bus." I thought you were okay. No.
Yeah, so didn't get to see that one, unfortunately.
Where did he play?
Somewhere in Nashville. I don't remember the venue though.
They kill me.
But
how many? I know it's that stupid circle rule where if you play somewhere you can't play with any. But how many times
it's crazy.
They'll play Nashville and Asheville or Charlotte with like
just
2 days in between, and it's like, what are you doing?
I know. It's every once in a while we'll get somebody, and I'm like, did you mean to come here? Are you sure? Is this an accident? Because you're in Knoxville, right? Because nobody comes here. They just Atlanta, Charlotte, Asheville, and Nashville.
I just got tickets to see Doug Stanhope at the Bijou Theater, and I'm so excited to see Doug Stanhope. I can't stand his buddy, but I love Doug Stanhope. He's so fucked up. He's so fucked up and wrong.
Every once in a while we will get like a really good actor, a really big band.
But we have holes. Like Regina Spektor should play here.
Yeah.
Why the hell she's not played the Tennessee or even the Bijou?
I know. I actually saw there's a group called Oh Wonder.
Don't get me started.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, man. Whatever that song, there's All I Do.
Yeah. So
somehow
good.
it got fed to me on YouTube. I was like, why is there an 8-minute long video? And I watched it and
Isn't
was
it good?
sobbing.
Isn't it so good? So I went on a trip to England, and my husband and I were sitting in a coffee shop in Chester.
And I've actually looked up because I saw them come up on my Facebook feed. I was like, where the hell are they coming?
Yeah. Well, they were here. So we found them sitting in a coffee shop in Chester, and by the time we were done eating our food and drinking our coffee, like we'd heard the majority of their debut album, and we were like, who is this? So we looked them up, and they were the soundtrack to that trip for us. We listened to them the whole way, listened to that album over and over, and then found out they were coming to Knoxville, and we were like, holy shit.
They played here?
They did. They played at the Bijou. And my husband and I were the only people over like 20, aside from the parents whose kids had dragged them. And so we're thinking to ourselves, like, are we just like really hip, or are we like really
I'm trying to
dorky?
remember that other band. There's another band that I've seen at the Bijou a couple times. It's a brother and sister, and I don't know how to say this without sounding like a pig, but she is small and cute, and he is a big dude. And if I said their name, you would know them.
I'm sure.
You would know them. And same thing. Anytime I've seen them, I was like, I'm not anybody's dad.
Yeah.
But I am the oldest person by at least 15 years.
Exactly. That's how we felt at Oh Wonder. Everybody that was about our age there had some teenage kid in tow. And I think we were the only ones like of that age who actually knew the music.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic, and they just came out with a bunch of albums. I think they're coming out with another one right now. But
I looked up no tour schedule.
Yeah.
So,
I think a lot of people are not coming here because of COVID. Like a lot of
from overseas.
Yep.
Yeah. For some reason, I had it in my mind that they were Canadian, that they weren't British. Okay.
Nope.
The weirdest one like that, I saw Jimmy World at the Millen Mine like 3 or 4 years ago.
I think
Everyone
I remember.
there was young, and I was like,
"What?
How? It should be my age or a little bit
Yeah,
younger."
no kidding.
But there was a lot of 20-year-olds. I was like,
Interesting.
"You're here for Jimmy World? What the fuck is that?" And they all knew every song.
Yeah.
Word. It was packed, and I was like,
Wow.
I don't understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
What did I get in the DeLorean? Like, did I go back 20 years? Like, I don't understand this. Okay. I'm going to finally let you go here in hour 7. How can folks follow along on your adventures online?
Well, I do have a website that is not currently up because I haven't really had the time to work on it. And I post some of my art, my drawings and paintings on there. And it's just my name, LyndseySharp.com.
Okay. But spell your name.
Yep. LYNDSEY Sharp SHARP.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm making sure.
Yeah.
I'm making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't have a Facebook because I got rid of it a couple of years ago.
Good for you.
But I do post on Instagram occasionally. And my handle is Lyndsey, LYNDSEY _ A S as in Sam.
Okay.
So Lyndsey _ AS.
Okay. Well, we're going to go out with Jacob Banks with Caroline. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me. We've talked about this forever and just
we made it happen.
Finally got around to it.
We made it happen.
Woohoo.